that's stealing.
You can do that as well. And we're live. We're crashing
on live?
in. We're back to crashing in again. The last two we've been to
what was I going to say?
normal. You were there were two stories. You were in Waitrose, but other supermarkets are available.
And
there was
don't mention the coffee thing because I'll have to explain the whole story to get the context.
You don't mention the coffee. That's don't tell him, Pike.
No, but yes, let's forget that part of it. But I was at the till in Waitrose.
Yeah,
and it had all the alcohol behind the woman. And behind the alcohol, they had just alcohol everywhere. And then in the middle was a little pot of honey, Manuka honey. And
hot toddies.
I was half talking to her. So just my one eye was on the Manuka honey thinking, do I ask? And I'm trying to analyse before I look stupid. I'm thinking, right, is it buy wine, get Manuka honey? What type of wine is it? Does wine go with honey? And I'm looking, I think there's nothing there that says anything. And I said to her, at the end, I thought I've got to do this. I'm going to have to come back in and ask her. I know it. So I said to her, why have you got honey in the middle of a tiny little jar of honey?
Because it's so expensive.
She won't, because people keep stealing it.
Because it's like 20 quid for a little bottle, jar like that.
But I said to her, I'm going to get into it, but basically that doesn't work. You can't put that there. If there's a problem with the stealing, there's another solution. You don't put that there. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You can't put the money. You might as well stick it in between the toilet rolls. It doesn't fit. It doesn't. You can't have the wine.
Not the best advert for honey, though, isn't it? It's like have some of this, and then you'll need this toilet paper.
Honey wine. You could be mistaken.
Well, you do get honey wine. I mean, you get what is it?
Mead.
Yeah, which is very tasty. It's one of those things you're like, why don't we have this more often? You only get it in bloody German Christmas markets.
But I like the fact that even in the posh shops, they were forced to sort of admit that we get thefts in here.
Well, yeah. But I think the areas you're most likely to get mugged, aren't they? I don't know if it's still the case anymore, but it's things like Chelsea and Kensington, because you're going to be loaded, so you're going to have a watch that's worth taking. You're going to have cash.
Yeah, but the problem is you're going into a building that you know has got security, so you going in there, you have to sort of up your game. But if you walk into Waitrose, you're looked at as somebody goes in Waitrose. If you can sneak into Asda wearing anything, they're not bothered. Everyone's guilty.
There's no dress code at Waitrose.
No, but there is. If I go into Asda with a jacket, or a bomber jacket, and jeans and trainers to go and shoplift, you're sort of a bit more ambiguous compared to everyone else.
Do you take a Waitrose bag for life and go to Sainsbury's and then do your shopping and then walk out with your Waitrose? No, so you're walking around with a Waitrose bag.
But if I wore the same clothes and the same security guard was in Waitrose, and I walked in, he'd go, it would be a little more distinctive because you do have biases.
You look a bit silly now.
Right, so that's what I'm saying.
In your morning jacket and top hat.
Yeah.
Like you normally wear.
The horse cop. Whoa, outside.
My good man, please take charge of my steed while
Where is your honey?
Yeah, exactly.
Think of it though, right? It doesn't work, but I'm just saying, just to prove the prejudice. If I was on like jodhpurs and the red coat and the hat on a horse, pulled up outside, you could basically shoplift like fuck. You could shoplift like shit. He's not going to look at you.
I think you would get looked at wearing jodhpurs
he wouldn't.
Riding in the horse.
He wouldn't follow you around. Is what you'll be the last suspect.
Yeah, you'd be. Excuse me. You'd be. Yeah, I'm sure there's profiling.
So, but there's
also, it's when I worked in a shop, there would be people you would look at, but it's not based on like, oh, there's someone from this ethnicity or they look poorer. But it would be one of the most common ones we looked at was people with where it was people with prams, because people use the prams to hide things in there because also they know who's going to be ballsy enough to stop someone with a baby.
Well, I knew a woman. Well, knew of the woman.
Breaking news: Theo knew a woman.
No, she used to hide the drugs in the kids' hair.
Nice.
So she knew wouldn't rummage through the kids.
That is just appalling.
Yeah, horrendous.
Yeah.
I turned down. This is my morals back then. How old was I?
Oh god,
mid-20s.
This is awful, isn't it?
No, because I was quite even moral. Like even in a shitty environment, I was like friction because I was well out of place because I had like sort of
because you had your Waitrose
honesty and dignity and no dignity, but integrity. I definitely had, and the word got about that he's honest in the stupid place where he shouldn't be honest, and so somebody
he'll tell you he robbed you.
No, somebody told this other person because he was a big drug dealer, like. If you put it on the top of 10, you'd be 7, like back then.
Are you ever going to eat that cookie?
It is melting to my finger. If I just get to the end of the sentence.
That's going to melt in a minute.
So this woman said, I was speaking to so-and-so about you. Some bloke she knows, the dealer.
Yeah.
And he wanted to meet you because I said, like, you don't do drugs, you're honest and all that. That's before I went on hell-bending ways of doing drugs. Yeah. And, he offered me $3,000 a week just to deliver drugs. And I said, no. And that was early. That was 20s.
When you say deliver drugs, you mean what?
It means everything. It means you're working for him.
Where does that work though? Are you dealing?
No, you're not dealing. Just moving the drugs around.
Okay, so
You can't really steal then. If I'm taking 3 kilos of cocaine to somebody, whoever's doing it is definitely taking out a grand's worth for himself. You can't really do it on low-level bags.
But I'm assuming they're weighing them,
Not that amount. That's what I'm saying. If you're doing it in small amounts, you can't really steal any, because if I'm giving you a gram, you know roughly the grams that. If I'm giving you 3 kilos, I can cut off half an inch and sell that for $1,000, and you're not going to know. We'll stick a straw in it and scoop some out. You're not going to sellotape it up. So that's when you lose the money. It's in between the big deals is where people take a package out, because nobody's checking all of those. But yeah, I turned $3,000 a week down. I was struggling to pay £400 a month in rent.
Yeah, but I mean, how long would you go to jail for?
No, well, my thinking at the time was, if you do that, then you're beholden to anything he does for the rest of his life and everyone he knows, because all it takes is one person to go down. You get off, tell us about the rest for the rest of your life.
But it's also, even when you get out of that, I'm sure 10 years later someone goes, "Oh, I knew you when."
Yeah, well, anything. I mean, he don't give a fuck about me. I could easily get set up and have my face shut off. Like, it's all over the place.
Might get robbed, might get...
Oh, you're definitely going to get robbed at some point. You're going to do deals with him and deals with them.
And then if you get robbed, would you then owe... Would it be your responsibility?
Sometimes it is, and sometimes it depends on the person if they trust you or not. You just comes down to that. If it's like you're just buying it off a shipment and blah blah blah, well, then it comes to you. You can make deals where I'll sell it and you get the money back, or if I haven't got the money, or if I've got the money, I'll buy it and you get it lower. It's like interest rates, really, like how much you've got to get in a mortgage sort of thing. And I turn that down, and to this day, and bear in mind, I'm living week to week. There's no future for me, and I'm in shit. All I know is shit life. But I still thought, nah, there's a level where you cross. I said before when I was going to mug somebody because I was starving and I didn't eat for 3 days, I just couldn't do it. And it got to the point of following the person. And I could have done it. I would have had £200, which to me was like $5,000 now. And I just followed it and my heart was bad. I can't fucking cross this line.
That's the thing that I can totally understand the desperation, but it's more the how do you live with yourself afterwards.
Yeah, but you got to remember, you're not you. Yeah. You're in a different world where the rules don't apply and there's no future where it's going to change. It's just, this is shit. So why not do it?
How many people who mug are actually desperate, and how many of them?
The vast amount.
You would say so?
Yeah, maybe nowadays things have changed with mobile phones and things. But before you were just mugging for money. You weren't going to get a phone and be flashy and take the trainers. I didn't know many people that were burgling or doing anything, and they were sort of cocky about it. They were always fairly decent people, just fucking broke as shit. Yeah. The government just kick you around all over the place. You've got no choices. You've got no backup for anything. And then what I keep saying to people, even if you experience bad stuff, you've got to add on futility. Like, I've got to eat this.
I know,
thing.
Like your cookie. That is, I'm watching your thumb there, and it says,
I forgot to take my glasses off. It was supposed to be a joke.
Again,
I've left them on.
If you're listening back,
little beady eyes.
Theo was wearing sunglasses.
I was supposed to be. That was my Puff Daddy podcasting. Is he still alive, Puff Daddy?
Yeah, he's still alive. I don't know if he's still Puff Daddy anymore. Is he puffy now?
Puffy. He's just puffy.
Because he goes through phases. Is he puffy now? Because he was Puff Daddy, then he was P Diddy, then he was Diddy, I think. Now he's puffy.
I lost track of P Diddy. I think I just
because Snoop Dogg is now Snoop Lion, or I think he was Snoop Lion. Now he's back to Snoop Dogg.
I think he's back to Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, it's very actually very. Before we really get into it, I do need to do a mini retraction just because I felt bad because when we did our Trump special.
Oh yeah.
I mentioned that the guy that did the makers of the You've Been Trumped themselves got caught up in scam. That wasn't them. I think the reason I got muddled is because where the person who did get, I won't go bother going into it, but someone who was making documentaries, sort of about corruption in, the tabloid press, in business and that sort of thing. So it seemed a bit hypocritical, it's like, so it's, you're doing this, but let he who is without sin then in that case. But anyway, I think because they were at that person, the person who did get done, was at a documentary kind of like workshop thing, and one of the documentaries that was discussed was the Trump one, but separately. So I think that's why I got muddled.
Why was his one being brought up about?
No, because we were talking about the Trump doc. We talked about like You've Been Trump.
No, but I mean, who did what then? Somebody must have done something.
So somebody entirely unconnected with that film.
They were just in a situation.
Yeah, there was it. I think at some workshop, and that was a documentary that was discussed by somebody else, but because they were also present, I think that's why I got muddled. I think that's why I got muddled.
To show what a professional.
But that's what I mean. We want to, because we were calling out Trump for his bullshit. Yeah. So then we can't then be spreading bullshit in it was a mistake on my part. I didn't, I wasn't like trying to besmirch somebody. but
Well, you were high on drugs as well.
yeah, I was off my face on heroin and what?
High five.
High five.
Yeah, high five for heroin. I knew a guy that used
Please
to...
do not high five for heroin, kids.
Well, you say that. I had an argument with somebody years ago about...
You say that.
But I'm going to prove my point. I'm going to prove my point. It's not comedy.
Okay.
Somebody said to me that I work with in one of these low-level jobs. So him and his brother...
So I'm going to put on the sunglasses now.
Well, like... so how old... Like 10 years ago, he must have been near 45.
I don't want to break them, actually.
Oh, is he going to put it face down? That's it. So he was about 45, and he said when he first come to the country from Jamaica, him and his brother used to paint for the council, and it was just you're painting white or grey, painting white or grey.
Interiors or exteriors?
Everything, the buildings, in shared accommodation. So that's his job, and that's all you do. You paint all the time. And he said it was a good job. He said the only thing it was hard to deal with was monotony of you are just painting the same colour of buildings that more or less look the same all the time.
Yeah,
and he said his brother would make heroin because it just passed the time. And what my point was when I was arguing with this person is because you are still through the lens of the newspapers slightly, you don't really realise that there are people that take it and it doesn't cripple their life. It's I keep coming back to this. It's always the person's the problem. Drink, drugs, anger,
Handle your high.
poverty. No, but he said, I mean, musicians, they don't all kill themselves. They've all tried something. It's not like I take heroin and, well, the whole world's going to collapse. It doesn't work. That's a lie. Some people just take it. Recreation, ever smoke, but that's not all jacking up. Oh, I could tell you some stories about that, but it's...
Will we do a drug special? I feel like we do need to do like a Theo, the early years special.
I've trumped myself.
Yeah. Or we could do it as an alias, so then the police don't immediately come.
Yeah, I need to.
You could tell it with a voice changer or something.
I need to find. If I just say it, but it's blurred out, then it's like
we'll just be like,
I know who that is.
Theo isn't here this week. He's away somewhere, but we've got a special guest.
Who rings?
Neo.
Leo.
Yeah, Leo. Leo might be borderline more believable as a name.
Yeah, because it's quite grimy. Like it's not good.
Yeah, no one doubts that.
Really
we know,
but it's worse. It's really bad.
But we get little snapshots every podcast. We'll be like, it'll be something that we talk about. It'll be like, yeah, and I heard about this really awful stabbing, and then Theo comes in. We're like, well, I've got a story for you.
I can tell you, but I did have a logo made up like years ago for the podcast, which is when we put this podcast out, the specific podcast.
Logo or gang sign?
No, it's the same as the Vialucci Podcast symbol with the microphone.
Okay.
But it's black. It's like chrome.
Yeah.
To say like this is like an over 18s. Like even though this is over 18s, this is like don't watch it.
Are we?
Like the porn star. When we have the porn star, I'm going to get a porn star on.
Yeah.
I thought that's one of the ones where I'm going to put the logo up just so you know that's a bit different.
I suppose that, I mean, I'm hoping that we're not going to have, some sort of display going on. I'm assuming, but you mean over 18 in terms of should we...
Yeah, I mean, like I said, talking about the drugs or whatever life, I'd have to put that up there as well.
The ins and outs, if you will, of the porn industry.
Oh, very nice,
yes.
Never. Wow, 5 dicks is a lot of dicks inside of your wants. Wow,
yeah, exactly.
Talking about the Trump thing, I missed a lot out, and I was... But even the last couple of weeks now, where...
Well, it was the Trump, the early years, and we went up to the present day, pretty much.
No, because I was going to talk about the Animal Farm, like the
beg pardon.
Yeah, I should. If anyone's ever going to Google the Animal Farm, just make sure you put George Orwell in front of
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But yeah, it was funny because... like even the last couple of weeks, like it's taken another downturn where he's now just going, fuck off, I'm not doing anything.
Well, because
like
that's the thing with
authoritarian. He just doesn't care now. He's just going, I don't care. I'm not abiding by anything.
Because it's the what are they? Because this isn't the best anecdote. The very senior lawyer won't release the full Mueller report, isn't it? They're pushing for him. B-A-R-R.
Yeah, but that's not his job. He's now going
Attorney General. Sorry, that's the word I was thinking. Okay. Is it a Deputy Attorney General?
I think he's the Attorney General.
Yeah, but
William
sort of. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, sorry. He I don't know. Because you're appointed by the president, is that right? You are, because he fired the previous one.
I don't know how that works.
It's a weird thing because every president that comes in basically has to reappoint all these positions, and including stuff like ambassadors.
Oh, you have to,
well.
yeah.
But you can keep the same. You can keep
the same ones, but basically all these positions are effectively change every 4 or 8 years, effectively.
Yeah.
But that shouldn't be the president's because that doesn't make any sense. That means he's sort of set up to commit crime.
Yeah, that doesn't separate the judiciary. I'll put my teeth in.
Well, it politicizes these positions, and they should be ideally apolitical.
Yeah, exactly. Because otherwise, the executive and then judiciary
exactly,
are
just do what you want.
Working,
in cahoots.
Yeah, but it's funny because I watched the George Orwell's Animal Farm before I did the show.
Well, the cartoon one.
Yeah, and I'd seen it. And it's funny to watch those sort of cartoons because you don't get those sort of cartoons anymore. Like, they're quite dark. Like, if you even go back to Disney stuff, they're quite scary. Like, they're not sort of comic-y scary. They're like, oh, that is a deranged person.
Or the Watership Down cartoon.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They sort of were quite...
They're harrowing, aren't
Yeah.
they? Children, yeah.
And I couldn't believe when I watched the film. Now, you could obviously go, oh, you know, totalitarianism and all that, and when it's supposed to be the fascism and all that. And you go, yeah, right, okay, I get all that. And I get how you could relate to time. Yeah, get all that. But if you actually watch the film, there's things that are said, and you go, fucking hell, that's quite specific. And each one of them is like something you almost, straight away you see the Trump, what they did. I mean, I could list them all off, but just even the fact of, you know, they've got the 5 or 10 tenets, what it is, about what animals shouldn't do, and beds, and no animal should sleep in a bed.
Well, I think the most famous, isn't it, is that some pigs are more equal than
others. But
two legs bad, 4 legs good.
Yeah. But they're like the bed thing. Then
the chickens. That means the chickens are bad.
Well, they are. They're dreadful people, chickens.
Are they?
I mean, a couple of the animals get ripped to shreds by the dogs, and you just hear the squealing and all that. You go, that's a cartoon. But
I'm sure it wasn't written for... The book wasn't written for... Well, I assume it wasn't written. I don't know what the intention was. I mean, it's obviously a parable, but I don't know if it's...
Well, they read it again, I think, in the 80s, and with live action, like live animals, and it doesn't work.
With Babe.
Did live action
Yeah,
work?
it's like, because that's what you see. You see a chicken, and you go, I didn't even watch it for not even for a second. I thought, it doesn't work, because this is a serious thing. And when you've got an animal doing that...
Because I'm curious, I mean...
And I'm imagining it's been watered down as well, if it's later on. I bet it's watered down.
Because how long is the... I have seen the original cartoon, but I can't...
About an hour, just over an hour.
Okay, so
it's short. It's not sort of 90 minutes or whatever.
But you could make... I mean, because I think, broadly speaking, it's usually considered a feature film if it's
Oh, and do you know who did it?
Onwards.
Ian McKellen? He's one of the voices of the animals.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it might be Napoleon. No, the one...
In the original...
No, the live action
Oh,
one.
okay.
Oh, okay, right.
I mean, there's even so you've got the thing that Trump is now doing, which with like William Barr, where they say no animal should be sleep in a bed, anything humans do basically, and then they get caught sleeping in bed, so somebody writes without sheets.
So William Barr isn't allowed to sleep in the bed.
No, but what he's doing, you know, that thing of, well, I don't know what that word means, like, and you go, come on, don't start creating ambiguity in words. That's the sense of, what was the word he said he didn't understand when she asked him something? He said, I'm just trying to understand what you mean by the word. Oh, I can't remember what it was.
There was white supremacy where he said, I don't understand what I've never heard that term before.
No, but she was asking.
He said he never heard the term white supremacy. Because I'm sure
No, wasn't it? It was a word. She asked him something, and he said blah blah blah, and she said, like, do you understand? He's going, well, I'm just trying to figure out what you mean by that word, and it was something like safe or something. It was a word, a normal word, and she's going, well, what do you not understand by that? You know, and she went, okay, move on. And I thought, oh, they're trying to go. Wasn't it Clinton? He tried to question what the word "is" meant. They'd asked him that, and he said, "No, it's just that is could mean two things."
Is or jizz?
No, yeah, exactly, yeah. But no, I think he questioned, like, he's saying what it is. So it's getting to that point. That's fashion. We go, well, what do you exactly mean? You know, well, you say sleep in the beds, but we didn't say sleep in the beds without shit.
Which is odd,
right,
because
so
we now live in a time where nuance is dying.
Yeah.
And then, he's hyper. Then he's going almost. That's almost hyper nuance.
Yeah.
You know.
But it's the same thing. It's, well, your words don't mean what mean whatever we want them to mean, sort of thing. You go, like, they were asking William by a direct question. It was quite simple, very simple, and he was thinking, he couldn't answer because he was stuck. So he just went, I'm just thinking what that word means, and she's just looking at him.
Just need someone to come along and say, don't wait for the translation.
There was even a bit
now.
where so the animal farm. So they've got the 2 pigs, and the ones that hates Napoleon, what is the evil one, and he takes over from the guy and kicks him out and says, oh, he's a traitor, you know, he's against us, and it becomes, you know, you're the poison, but masquerading as the cure.
Yeah.
And at one bit he says, the first thing he says, we're going to stop having these silly meetings because they're pointless. And I thought, well, that's Sarah Sanders, that's the press office. We're not going to, because I can't answer these questions because we're doing wrong.
Yeah, something like, haven't they had only 3 or 4? You know, bearing in mind you're normally meant to have
it's like 55 a year, and they've had like 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, when the pig got up, I just went, and I wasn't even thinking about Trump at the time, other than like just saw the general thing. And went, right,
all that pink
there's
flesh.
no need to have these meetings anymore where you'll come and ask us questions in like the animals because they're pointless. So let's stop having that. And I thought, that's them. That's fashion. There's no need for this because we have to answer questions. We can't.
I don't know.
Sometimes
I've been in some meetings where I'm like, oh, this could have been done with an email.
And then just how they create enemies and like that they're the enemy, but the whole time it's you're the worst one. And then how he's, you know, you say it's for this and for that, but then you start dealing with, and like you've got the the pigs that are basically the Republican Party. They're sort of umming and ahhing, and then eventually the pigs just go along with whatever he says, and then they stick to that side, even though they were with the animals before. Even when there's bad stuff happening, and then he's sending everybody to deal with his shit, but then he's hiding away in the corner while he's sending them out to die.
Because doesn't it end with, spoiler alert, doesn't it end with all the humans basically getting drunk and coming back and taking over the fight? Is that right?
Yeah, they do attack them though, but then they get I suppose the only thing that hasn't happened now is that he brings a
Everyone
pack of dogs
all
up.
gone to the pub.
Because when all the animals some of the animals got killed at the beginning, one of the dogs dies and he leaves 6 or 7 puppies. So Napoleon the pig, he hides the dogs away in like a room. And basically, that would be what these terms the army, because they then
secret police, I suppose.
Yeah.
Probably.
So when he comes out and they start saying we're going to do this, and people go, no, we're not doing this, then he just whistles and all these dogs come rushing out. Then nobody. So he hasn't got that quite yet, because that's when your constitution.
Well, that's when you end up. Yeah, but that's why all these people are off in the in the woods. The militia. All these types.
Yeah, they're waiting to go. Really,
Yeah.
I mean, only calls it. Yeah.
No. They're waiting to overthrow someone who does something like that. That's their whole. Well, in theory, that's their argument.
Yeah, but they say that. But then remember a couple of years ago when they had the Jade Helm military exercise, right?
Yeah, what's that?
They had a very big military exercise. I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago.
Who's this? Sorry.
The American Army.
Okay.
And everyone in America went bananas over this, saying this is a coup. This is going to be the uprising, and Obama's going to take over and become king. And they're like, no, this is just a.
Oh, they thought the training was getting ready.
Yeah, they thought this was going to be an excuse to launch.
So it was a big military exercise on American soil. Was it? Okay, fine.
In Texas.
I see.
And they said that this was it. They're going to wipe. They're going to take over and make Obama king. And then when you have Trump and all the militia people were like, we need to rise up. And then when you have Trump openly talking about, I don't see why we need another election.
Yeah.
It's almost as if they didn't like a black man being in power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Funny
the thing.
Yeah.
Because they were saying recently, and I was analysing how he works. Now there's a lot of fuel that's been built into a corner here now. It's getting good. It could come to a point accidentally, because what's happened is you could go, well, I thought they just have to step down, like it immediately ends, and then you get another president in when they get voted in. And they're basically saying, no, he has to actually step down. But you only do that because that's what's happened before. You have to release
and the
presidency.
But the Constitution does. There was an amendment, so it didn't used to be that you had to change after 2. It was only the convention, because Washington stood down after 2.
No, but not even after 2 terms. I'm saying so you don't have to step.
You do. They changed it after FDR because he won 4, and they decided that
Pelosi wasn't saying that. She was saying, might not step down.
But I think the way it actually works is the actual transition of power, the way between one president and the next, or even between one term and the next, is a very weird system. Like in this country, it was only formalized a couple of years ago. Because technically you were supposed to have an election within 5 years, but there was nothing to stop you from just carrying on. You know what I mean?
It's tradition, that's all.
It's precedence and tradition rather than being an actual rule like that. That fundamentally here's the end date, like a lease in your house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you're renting, you're out. Yeah. Here's the end, you're out.
We assume you're gonna. Yeah.
They were like, oh no, well it was sort of okay, well you can stay, and technically you could have squatted, and technically I suppose Trump can squat. Effectively.
But her thing is that he won't if he loses in is it 2020? Is that yeah. They're saying that they don't think he'll step down if he loses in 2020, as in he won't go willingly. He'll have to be whatever.
But the problem is, this is a double.
He won't accept the results, sorry, because
Well, they said they have to get a massive margin because he's going to question it. He was questioning it before.
Yeah, but because because there was the assumption, happy times. Although actually, I don't think she'd have been much better. But that Hillary would have won. There was a thing like, will you accept the result? And he wouldn't answer.
Yeah.
Just depends which way it goes.
Yeah, exactly.
He was definitely programmed by Russia. Whatever's gone on, even before the election, or when he would have been meeting beforehand, because he didn't have the brains to put things together. And when he came back from Russia and he started saying fake news, that everything that's followed, the way he's acted, is totalitarian, which he's not used to. But it's perfect from Russia. So he's been taught what to do and what not to do. Now, this is the big problem is, he'll throw anybody under the bus for any reason at any time because he's just a con man. But now with all the things that are coming out that he can quite easily be charged with something as soon as he steps down, now you've got a man that wants to stay at the top, And even if you did step down, there's a whole litany of problems that are going to hit you straight away to do with you could go to jail, which is now going, well, I'm definitely not stepping down then.
But they'll get him on. It'll be the same reason everyone gets got for everything. He'll be taxed. That's how they finally got Berlusconi. That's how they obviously got Capone.
Don't fuck with the tax, man.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying, though. He's got some big reasons to not step down, even if it wasn't just ego. Like, his life could be on. If you step down, you're going to jail, or you've got to stay in power somehow.
Yeah,
but
I don't think
some sort of call to arms.
Let's also not forget that he's not a young man, is he? There's not.
Yeah, no, but we're talking about 2 years away. The problem is, we could just go for another shock that we haven't seen yet, that something else is going to happen. Because the thing is, the only thing that holds the Constitution to be laws or toilet paper is the police and the army. So it's that tipping point. I mean, I don't know what happened in Germany. I don't know how he got them. Was it literally just had enough people to just...
It was essentially.
But brown shirts or something?
Well, he had the brown shirts, so he had the SS.
But they were just thugs.
Yeah, but the point was...
So at some point, it has to go to the tipping point where they have the power.
The same idea.
There was a point where he made the army swear loyalty personally.
That's what I mean, but how do you go from not to that? Were they angry? Were they not being paid by the previous government?
Well, yes, to a degree. I mean, basically, the situation in Germany, everyone says, it's going to happen. It's it's not, because America once people have jobs, what you need is everything to go the other way. That's when fascistic governments come in.
Because they all say in Germany for that.
Well, yeah, because they had Germany was, after the war, obviously hammered by reparations.
And building up poverty.
Yeah, they also took great swathes of the country. So Alsace and Lorraine had to go back to France.
And then the Depression here. The Great Depression.
Well, that was the thing. The country was actually on the road to recovery. It had something like, what we would call a thriving-ish.
In Germany?
Yeah. Democracy. Right, yeah. You had a president, Hindenburg, who was an old war hero, very kind of, but almost in that symbolic, like a constitutional monarchy, essentially. Presidents, it depends on the system in the country and how it works. But in Germany at the time, the president, in fact, now the president of Germany as well, it's the same thing. It's a symbolic role. They didn't do any. They're basically a glorified ambassador.
Okay, right.
So it was the same thing in Germany, where it was the initial after the war was very chaotic. And you had sort of attempts at coup. He attempted a coup himself.
The Freikorps as well.
Yeah, exactly. All of that. You had the Spartacus. You had communists and fascists fighting.
And that's just him with a load of people on his side.
But he wasn't. He didn't found the Nazi Party. He just joined it. But the thing was, in Germany, he was nobody. He was a joke the first time he tried it, because everything was going okay.
Right.
It was people could see it was improving. Yeah. There were huge problems, but they could see that there was improvement. And he stood up and said, "Oh, let's overthrow the government." And I went, "No, you're right."
The Munich Putsch.
Yeah. And he just stood up and the town square and said, declared his own thing, and everyone went, "No, you're right, mate." And he went to jail, but then the situation. But he went to jail for a while.
He went to jail for treason.
He wrote Mein Kampf, which became, and he sort of portrayed himself as this, whatever.
So it was a slow growing of numbers. That was
but it was the circumstances that met it.
Yeah.
The reason, and then. Kind of almost not very long after he came out, he rebuilt he joined the Nazi Party, rebuilt it. I mean, it was called it was the NDSP or something like that, wasn't it? I can't remember
NSDP, I think. National
thank you.
NSWP.
But then the Great Depression happened, so everyone loses their jobs, hyperinflation. You've still got the fact that there are, slowly
The depression in the States isn't the same as one in America. Germany, like 15.
The Great Depression affected everyone.
What year is this then?
1929.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he came along way after that.
No. Well, that's when he started. So he took power in 1933, I want to say.
He took power that early. I thought it was quite a short... Oh.
Did he win the election in 1932 maybe, and then declared himself Führer in 1933?
Yeah, it was something like, so they took, it was all the things like, I'll rebuild the economy.
Oh, hang on, right, so he was actually in government when he ordered things to happen.
Yeah.
You'd have more...
He was democratically elected.
Oh, right.
He wasn't... but he was...
Think of that.
So, Hindenburg, essentially, in the same way that the leader of the largest party is invited, in inverted commas, by the Queen to form a government.
Yeah.
Not really. It's just, that is just the ceremony. It's the same thing. So Hindenburg invited Hitler to, it was very simplistic, but he basically he agreed to allow Hitler against his own better judgment.
Yeah.
But he can't say, because then that would have played in. It was basically nowhere to turn, because obviously Hindenburg could have said, this guy's a fascist and he shouldn't be in power and everything like that. And everyone would have gone, well, look, Hindenburg's abusing his power and saying, so it was a lose-lose situation, because he had gained popularity by then, because it's the classic thing of saying, right.
Will of the people. Will of
the people, come
vote.
with me. It's wrong. And he was saying things that many Germans believed about the fact that not necessarily we can debate how anti-Semitic the average German was. I think that's an entire other podcast, and I don't want to get. But the point is, there were things that are a matter of record. That they had huge occupying armies in Germany, like in the Ruhr Valley. That in Germany had great swathes of territory, and they said, "Well, hold on, the war ended 10 years ago. 15 years ago. We're still being punished unjust. No one's ever been punished like this in the way that we have." So it was things like they got the reparations lowered. They got some of the territory back. They also increased the territory because they said, he played the system because the League of Nations said everyone should have the right to self-determination, i.e. because obviously you saw the breakup of empires. Yeah. So let's say, for example, Austria got a huge German population. Hey, Austria, do you want to be part of Germany? So all the German people in Austria, I mean, that's not quite it, but that was the idea. That's how he did it. So he did that in Czechoslovakia. That was a bit, I mean, we're accelerating here towards war.
Template again.
But yeah, essentially, I mean, it's the same thing that Putin's doing. He's saying, right, Crimea, that's all Russian. So if they voted to be part of Russia, then they have the right to join Russia, and we'll do that by force if necessary. The big problem is in some of the Baltic states, so Lithuania, Estonia, Latvia, I'm not sure which is which, but some of them, it's over 50% are ethnic Russians.
Right, yeah.
So will they go? But obviously NATO has a huge interest in that, because then that's even further encroaching into...
So you're saying that basically the thing that's holding America together is the fact that things aren't that terrible.
Yeah, but that's the same with everything. Every country, you look at anything, when people have... Forget everything. All that matters to people is, can I pay my rent on time, or can I pay for my house? Can I buy food? Do I have a job?
I'm not going to rock the boat.
And also, is it safe to go down the shops?
Yeah, am I safe? Do I have money?
Yeah,
that's it. That's all that matters.
The cabaret film, isn't that a Nazi thing? Like you see the Nazis coming in slowly, isn't
probably, yeah. But that's the thing is,
because they're laughing at them at the beginning, they're mocking them in the stage, and then slowly by slow, there becomes more and more of them, and then the play changes.
You're like, shit, these guys aren't a joke.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. So everyone's saying that that's not going to happen. It might have happened actually when there was the Great Recession
10 years ago.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah. If you had a more fascistic,
if he came in then, yeah.
But again, I don't think he would have. But obviously, he's improved he's saying he's improved the economy. Actually, obviously, the improvement began under Obama, and it's just essentially carrying on that same trajectory.
He's coming 2 years later with
great.
It has nothing to do with you.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? If he'd come in then and improved it, you might have seen it then. But it's not going to happen now because everyone's happy.
Well, this is the thing, is that fascism and communism are both different answers to the failure of sort of liberal democracies and a capitalist system. When you have these crashes
you can't have one without the other. You need
every 10, 20 years. Well, no, they are literally answers, because people look at, for instance, in the Great Depression, people said, okay, well, the money's worth nothing. We don't have any jobs. Everything that we've been building for our entire lives is suddenly gone overnight. There's a complete failure of our system. What are we going to do?
Right, okay.
There needs to be a change.
But then the snake oil comes.
Some people will say, okay, well, this is the problem because the rich people are screwing us over, and there's class struggle, and that's communists. And then some people will say, well, it's because of the foreigners and the Jews. Pick a group to persecute Jews.
It's usually the Jews,
whatever. It's the wrong. The system's okay. It's the wrong type of people doing it. Yeah. And these bad people, like for instance, I mean, this is you hear this now, sort of with these silicon billionaires and the billionaires now. These are the wrong types of people. Billionaires aren't bad necessarily, but these are the wrong types of billionaires.
Well, isn't Zuckerberg is Zuckerberg Jewish?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean the name, Swedish. Without being horribly stereotypical,
he must be. He's not Swedish or anything, is he?
No,
he's got to be.
But I thought,
as a guess, yes, probably.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm sure, But because the thing that goes back to is obviously in the Middle Ages, where there was a papal bull saying, "Oh, you can't lend money for interest."
Yeah.
But obviously, and in Islam, that's forbidden as well.
Usury.
Yeah, usury. So they used to be in Christianity, but it was outlawed by don't ask me which bloody pope and when, but it was basically outlawed.
It was outlawed.
So and then Muslims weren't allowed to do it anyway. So that left one people who could lend with interest, and that was the Jewish people. But obviously everyone's quite happy to take a loan. Yeah. No one wants to pay it back. So what do? We cut off their heads and say, no, it was they're all devil worshippers or whatever, and they're heretics, and we burn them, and then we don't have to pay back the money.
Islamic banks make money?
That beyond me. I think there is a tiny. No, I think there's a teeny tiny.
We have a man with an answer here.
So Karem knows, our producer.
Yeah, they still do interest, but
It's tiny, isn't
it's
it?
just like no, it's not tiny. It's the same thing, but
Oh, is it?
then they.
I always
just
thought it was
it's just
smaller.
a different name, and they don't accept that it's interest.
Okay.
Okay, so they just relabel it. Okay, that's cool. Yeah,
Extra special tax.
This one other term.
it's just bank charges or something. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah.
I forgot. Yeah, the interest rate just changed
Yeah.
to a different word. Well, no, that's interest. No, it's this different word.
But that's
God.
yeah. So although we managed to do a very brief history of the rise of fascism, the why people have historically persecuted the Jews, and I'm trying to think what else.
Well, people saying that.
We did about 1,000 years of history there in about 2 minutes.
I was going to say, next up, Brexit.
Yay!
Because somebody said to me that the people hate the Jews again now, like they're worried about something.
Yeah, but because of this reason, when it becomes embedded for 1,000 years, that everyone. I mean, obviously, eventually, the banks did start charging interest. People did start, and I'm sure people off books, even in the Middle Ages, did charge interest. But that's essentially the reason for it.
Well, my great grandfather punched your great grandfather, and we still.
Well, that's what it comes
about
down to.
It
Yeah,
can't be
but
that
it's
pathetic.
yeah.
I said, why have they got security outside the Jewish school? He said, there's a lot of things going on. I go, what's going on with the Jewish now? Why do you hate the Jewish?
Well, because people, by the way, I'm not saying this is right or acceptable, but I'm just saying people have, I think probably as long as there's been Jews, they've been.
But why? They never attacked the country and blew it up or anything, did they? It's just money. That's them.
I think that's the big reason. I mean, that's
But
because that's the stereotype.
People don't need a reason to hate.
Yeah, there is that.
You know
too,
what I
They
mean?
yeah.
keep for that to come up again. Haven't we done this? Like, this doesn't work. Why do you hate? I don't understand if there's something happening now. Like, they've always hated the new people that come along, the new immigrants. But Jewish people, at least they leave everybody alone. They don't get on with it. Why do you hate them? I don't know what the thing is.
Pass.
It's mental.
Because we actually were talking about this before the podcast started, that you can understand that this is
We're talking about Israel.
Yeah, we were talking about Israel and obviously
You weren't supposed to say this on air, no?
no. But we won't go into it because again, that's just going to wheel off into a whole
I don't
other
understand
thing.
all
But you
that.
can understand where people take issue with Israel's, I guess, treatment of the Palestinians, so let's call it that.
Yes.
That's a kind of catch-all term. I know some people will say that that's not far enough or it's going too, everyone has an opinion on that. So you can understand that, and that's fine. But obviously, I agree. You kind of go, really? When was? But you could say that about any people. You go, when was the last time anyone, did anything? When was the last time you were oppressed by?
Yeah, but the fact it's come up again
Beyond someone just being an individual.
Yeah, but I always think it's always the new immigrants that they hate, and they'll.
No, it always
because Jewish people, haven't they left us people alone for so long?
No, but the point is, it always rolls back. It always goes like, first of all, it's that it's like, right, we're going to deal with these people, then these people, then it's like they're almost the starting point that everyone works back to.
Right.
That's how it always seems to me. It always seems like that train's that's.
And wouldn't they be the group that fights back the least?
Who?
Like the Jewish community.
I don't know.
I mean, you could say like the Muslim. At least they'll try and have a go at you. Or the what they call it when they jihad and all that. The Jewish don't sort of go, right, we're going to go out and sort of bomb people.
I think if you're Palestinian, you might.
Over there. I'm talking about over here.
View.
So attacking them over here is like attacking them over there. That's
I suppose.
I thought it was somebody.
What about 9/11?
What Jewish?
Oh God, yeah, that's the other conspiracy that it was all perpetrated. It's all part of a Jew. And you go, but how? But that's the. But for me, that's the same with the people who go, the Earth is flat, and you go. What are you talking about? When people say 9/11 was a Jewish conspiracy, you go, what? Yeah. What do you might as well just say, it was a Martian conspiracy.
Yeah, that's not even
for
a
all the
talking
same
point.
Yeah,
it wouldn't even enter into
for all the same logic. You might as well say, it was it's the lizard men under the earth. You're like, right, okay, show you're working. Like, where is the ever
Finally, we're onto a decent topic.
Yeah, lizard men under the earth.
Right, let's talk.
No, they're transdimensional. They're transdimensional shape-shifting lizard people, and they bathe in human blood to keep their human form.
That was a party political broadcast brought to you by the
Looney Party.
Lizard Looney Party.
What was that thing you want to talk about in the paper?
Oh yeah, and in fact, this comes back to sort of where people. So it was about Danny. It was in paper. So it was about Danny Baker.
Was he a footballer, or a presenter, something like that?
I should totally lie and say he was something. No, he's I suppose, a radio DJ, TV personality. He's also he does a lot of things, all within media and TV.
Writer, broadcast.
Yes, thank you. Yes, yeah.
Is he said something about Jewish people? Is he?
No. It was just about my thing was about how he tweeted a picture once the royal birth. So after Harry and Meghan had their son, isn't it? Archie Harrison Archie. So
I just switched off.
It's sort of but it's nice. It's like, hey, but great, but that's you and everyone else having a baby. It's a love. Babies are brilliant. They're a blessing. Blah blah blah.
So someone I know had a baby. Woo!
Yeah, exactly. I guess the idea is we sort of feel like we know them. Anyhow, and he tweeted a picture saying that. Congratulations to the royal couple. Here's a picture of them leaving. And I think it was some stock photo. It might have been a cartoon, actually. Some old, let's say, Edwardian era man and a woman leaving hospital with a little chimp in a suit. Now, his point was, it was sort of lost on me. He was trying to make the point, he says, about, it's rich people, privileged people. But obviously everyone went, well, Meghan Markle's mother is black. And you've got her implying that her baby's a chimp. Yeah.
No, I didn't even see that coming. What? He's going to be that out and out to go?
Well, that was the thing.
No way.
But
has he got a history of anything like that?
Not that I'm aware of.
What? So
He's been fired a couple of times for just saying controversial stuff, but nothing that I would say.
That's got to be innocent. That's got to be innocent.
But he said his initial. The thing was so he was fired. I think the next day from the BBC, and then he was doorstopped by the press. And the thing was his apology initially, because he took it down off Twitter. He said, "What happened? Oh, I've realised." I think he was already fired by that point. But he said like, "Oh, it pretty much happened instantly."
Fired.
Yeah. Which I was kind of like, he should definitely be, because you should, it's not enough just to say, "Oh, I didn't mean to," when you've offended a lot of people. There has to be. It's a bit like if you accidentally hit someone with your car, there still needs to be a consequence of that. If they run out in front of you deliberately. But you know what I mean. If you knock someone over, you didn't mean to. Then.
But he's not saying he's not.
Yeah. Well, that was his point. His thing was like saying, "Oh, I didn't mean it. I was talking about privilege and whatnot."
Yeah.
But it was more to do with how flippant his. Then there was criticism. There was like, that, and he even acknowledged. He said, "Look, my apology."
Yeah.
Now he's been extra contrite and said, I'm absolutely devastated. I realised it was disgusting.
Right, yeah,
really,
yeah.
I can't remember his exact words, but essentially just really appalled and embarrassed and ashamed and so on. And just saying, and I realised the issue was my flippant reply, my flippant kind of apology. Yeah, and it was interesting to me because we, a couple of weeks back on the Celebrity podcast, we'll call it, we were talking about Liam Neeson, about how he said that thing, and then his apology and then his subsequent apology both missed the mark.
Yeah, but that's different though.
But it was kind of the idea to me. It was interesting
because
about how much does an apology mean.
But that's what I'm saying. I think even it's such a loose connection like that could be the reason that even you would just generally apologize. Sorry, but I didn't. But then to go, oh no, you really do think I meant? Oh, I've got to apologize again.
But that's no, I don't know. Innocent. I saw his. Yeah, I saw his. But I can understand why.
And he's got no history of it.
Yeah, I can understand.
You wouldn't go, oh, it's suddenly
why his apology was
horrific racist.
Yeah,
that doesn't work.
Yeah,
and it was sacked. You said.
Yeah, sacked, yeah.
And he's worked for the BBC for a long time.
Yeah, but he has been sacked by them before, so he might be rehired again. Although he did make some bitchy comment about being fired, so maybe that might make it harder.
But that's annoying because that's like.
And people also pointed out, kind of en masse, that Alan Sugar posted a picture of the Senegalese team. This is a while back. Senegalese football team, and saying, "Oh, these guys are normally on the beach selling you stuff." On holiday, and that's pretty. Yeah. That was pretty bad. But they said, but you still have him hosting The Apprentice, so
but
why is one?
There's no way he's had an extreme opinion like that and go, right, he's that angry, I'm going to do a posting about a little chimpanzee. No way.
But that's what I mean. Like, but why is his allowed to get away with? And I'm not
because one is just stupid about all the people. That's just about them being black.
Yeah.
So that is what it is.
Yeah, it's a weird.
But the other one is nothing. There was nothing, and
you know what I mean. So that seems very hypocritical, doesn't it? The why is one and the other?
No, because one is a stupid comment that's meant to say what it is. Look, they're black guys that should be on. Right, that is what it is. So you go, you're a stupid idiot for doing that.
Yeah.
But to go, the monkey, he's either completely innocent or a complete racist. There's nothing in between. And I would assume it was completely innocent.
Yeah.
So to assume that was the guilt, you would definitely.
Well, that's what I mean. Because again, it's what's intention versus, how much should that play a part into it? Also, how much you should apologize. Because again, also, I think the same day, the trial's been ordered for. Elon Musk, the Tesla guy,
because he
doing. So he got what hasn't he been doing? He's basically on Twitter causing fights with everyone. But he, when he's not being,
he's having a moment now, isn't he? He really is.
Yeah, he was kind of like, oh, he's like a real life Tony Stark, And now it's like, because he invents all these wacky things and he's a billionaire and he does all this, but now he's like offending everyone everywhere. So he basically, you remember the boys in Thailand who were trapped inside a cave?
Yeah.
And he sent a submarine to kind of get them out, and they were like, "Thanks, but this is not practical." I think one of the British divers was like, "It's a publicity stunt," which maybe wasn't a helpful thing to say. But then Musk retaliated by saying that he was a pedo. I think he called him a pedo-looking guy.
Who?
Musk called the
one of the divers who was going in to save those kids.
Yeah, he called him a pedo-looking guy and saying it was all dodge.
Where'd that come from?
Yeah, exactly.
What?
But
it's just Twitter shit. I think the internet just drives people mad. Even decent people mad.
Yeah, but Danny Baker's thing was on Twitter. Yeah. But he and then Musk. Yeah, and he said, then he apologized. Musk, but then he kind of went back on his apologizing by saying, we should all look into the fact that this guy's living out in Thailand. Why would someone that old be living out in Thailand?
Just likes the food. Lovely food.
He was saying like he's gone to, how you get this idea of sex tourism, and also that there have been people, for example, Gary Glitter, but that was in Vietnam.
Just questioning the fact
basically implying that he's some dirty old man having,
because you're in a country.
Yeah, where I think the age of consent is lower than it is in the West. I'm not sure, but that's the idea anyway. But he basically insinuated again that he was a paedophile, or that something very wrong with his character. And now he's saying, but it's I should be protected under the first, because he's American, so he's saying I should be protected under the First Amendment.
No, because that is
exactly. But it's also the rich guy.
Court case is for because he said that.
Because the diver's saying, you've really. This is my character. It's not a nice thing to say, but also it's affected my character and my reputation. And you're a very famous, famous person with lots of followers.
I know that in America, freedom of speech, the First Amendment freedom of speech kind of rules are only applicable to the truth. You're not allowed to print or say stuff that is a lie, that is a lie at the time. It. You have to be able to prove that you believe that. Absolutely, you have proof of that.
Okay.
I think there's a famous, I've forgotten names, New York Times versus someone as well. I think that codified that in I can't remember. But anyway, so he's only of the truth. So you are protected for truth. But
have you seen the early photographs of Elon Musk?
No, is he really dweeby looking?
He's had loads of plastic surgery. I think he's got a hair transplant as well, so he was bald. Have you got any? Could you? He's watching YouTube. Yeah. Have you got an early photograph of Elon Musk?
You mean he looked even like nerdy?
He doesn't look like the same person. Doesn't look like the same person. Like it's that drastic. It's like you with your photograph with you when you lost
when
weight.
I was a big fat guy.
Because it's one of those you go, oh.
I still had a full head of hair though.
Yeah,
but you just look quite different. I mean, it's not even the size thing. You just like around the face, you look quite different.
Oh wow, he looks like he's older there than he does now.
Look at that.
You know what? There's a guy on YouTube and he does reviews of like hamburgers and fast food, and he wears like a tuxedo for it, like full did the thing, and he'll sit in his car and just go, "Yes, the new Burger King double chicken."
He definitely looks like a Bond villain in that. Definitely.
He does.
He looks like the chief henchman for a Bond villain.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's maybe not the main villain, but he's the one. He's like with the garrote wire or something like that.
Yeah,
the one
he's got elaborate kill on.
He'll be the one.
He's got a gimmick. Yeah,
but because Bond always has one. He has his first love interest, and she gets killed off like a third of the way into the film, and then he gets the main love interest for the rest of the film. But he looks like the henchman that kills off the first love interest, trying to get to Bond. That's who he looks like in that picture.
Definitely Nazi connotations. He's got that sort of look to him. That sort of leather jacket.
Was it a leather jacket?
No, he looks like. Yeah, he looks way older. He looks like his granddad. Like back then, I think that was like 20 years ago. Like
he does look like. He's also kind of looks like he's got that weird Captain America. When they make him look in the first film,
he should have like
before he takes the super
on.
serum, and he's got like a big baby head on a tiny little body. That's what he kind of looks a bit like there. That was.
And what does he own? Tesla.
Yeah. What they do beyond like.
I get all the billionaires mixed up. You got the
SpaceX as well. He does.
The
space program thing. Yeah,
but isn't there a problem with his shares or something? He's been bought.
Well, he got in trouble. He basically said something.
The electric car was going to be made by 2020 or something.
No, it wasn't. It was. Well, he's done a couple of different things. Where, for example, I think he got in trouble with the share thing because he said, "Oh, I'm thinking of floating the company." It was something along those lines. that's normally something that has to be privileged until it's done.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I mean? Because obviously that does affect the shop price.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, it's almost, I don't think it is insider trading, but it's almost along that lines of like, oh, if you say he knows full well that doing that tweet, or at the very least he should know that in doing that tweet he is affecting the share price, and he presumably is a majority shareholder, or certainly has a loss.
Has a huge interest in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's if I just said, oh, I wonder if I tweet and I don't have any vested interest in it, and I tweet, oh, I wonder if Musk is going to float whatever the company or something like that.
Yeah.
Then, or is thinking of buying this, that's just conjecture and that doesn't mean anything. And you can switch on YouTube or TV, and other people going, oh, you should buy Musk, shares in Tesla before this happens.
If you're a CEO of a big company.
Yeah, but because he is that person, then that's wrong. So I think he got in trouble for that. I think they got a fine and he had to step down or do something. He had to relinquish some power. But he keeps getting in more and more trouble. I think they even tried to take. I think he even said, "Oh, I'm not going to go on Twitter anymore." And then immediately came back.
Like with some of these guys, like I don't know why they let people have a Twitter account. Because
like Azealia Banks,
like with footballers, like if I was managing a football club, if I owned a football club or whatever, I would not allow my players to have a Twitter account. Genuinely, it would have to be regulated or go through a PR company.
It's not needed, is it?
Because
that's just ego.
People it seems to be that it's like a stream of consciousness, and people just lose all barriers and they lose all kinds of filters, and they will just post whatever nonsense, the first thing that comes into their head. Even very reasonable people, even very they would just
it's the heat of the moment. I think there is.
And after I don't know 2 bottles of wine and a couple of Xanax or something, I don't know, but like
we're all secretly racist, like just like the song in Avenue Q. Everyone's a little bit racist.
Everyone's a little bit.
Yeah, it's the funny thing. All these billionaires, they become nasty, don't they? They become...
Well, because I think it's that thing.
I think to become a billionaire, you have to be a bullshitter. And what happens is when the media focus on you, you're then forced to defend something you can't defend. So you create an enemy.
But also, you've got this far, it's the ego of like, well, I did all this. Let's say that you are Zuckerberg. Is Musk self-made, in inverted commas?
I've got a clue.
I know, for instance, Tesla had a lot of government grants to sort of help.
But is that the company that he founded, or how?
He probably founded and just floated a company. Sorry?
Wasn't he the founder of PayPal as well?
Oh yes,
was
it was
he?
PayPal.
Was he?
Yeah, founder of PayPal.
He was one of the head designers or whatever.
Oh, okay. Wow. Oh, no wonder he's minted then. Yeah. Because that's what a few of them have gone into, haven't they? I think one of the Twitter guys tried to make his own rival PayPal thing, but that didn't work. Or
I think there was a couple of guys, and they all went off from PayPal, and they all went off and did.
Because Facebook are trying to bring their own currency in now. I was listening to a show the other day.
Oh my god,
Facecoin. I was listening to a podcast about these tech guys, and they're saying how so Facebook now said if you've had a phone for 2 to 5 years, they've completely got an avatar in your phone that knows exactly what you do. After 5 years, they know everything about you, know how you act, how you think. The guy was saying they had the algorithms years ago for they even focus on how you talk, and do you say let's meet at 3:15 p.m. or do you say let's meet about 3 o'clock? And they know what type of personality you are. Are you somebody that's very specific? Do you spell correctly or do you not spell correctly? And he said now they've got the avatar. They've got an avatar of you on the phone, and so now what the phones do is now they know what you are and how you make decisions. They try to guess what you're going to do and add the two up to make sure that it's perfect all the time. Like they know when you're going to text, who you're going to text, how you're going to speak, and that algorithm is in there now. They said there's an avatar within your phone of what they know you are, and there's one that guesses that you're going to do this at that time, you're going to say that at that time, you're going to speak to that person at that time. So you're just knackered, like you got nothing, and then they want to create their own money. I think they tried it before, it didn't work. I can't remember. I think it was too early on the crypto thing, but that's what it is, a face coin. They're trying to bring in a
I still don't understand cryptocurrency.
I've got one. You got a Bitcoin? 15 years ago. No, not the whole thing.
Back at home, yeah?
I sold the bloody thing. Because when you first got them, because I've got to check about the legalities. Like, is there a time period in here when you can talk?
I don't know.
In America, it's 6 years, isn't it? You can say something after 6 years. You can't
about what?
A crime that's committed.
Just depends what crime. Some crimes, the statute never goes, so...
Well, the dark web. Had a friend of mine that told me about this on the dark web.
Okay, a friend,
nothing to do with me.
Is this Leo?
That's the Leo.
Leo
the Leo I was telling you about. I would never, because that's illegal. I wouldn't do anything like that. But
that damn Leo.
He told me these things, and he said, so the Bitcoin's on there originally when it was just nothing. It was just some weird thing. If you looked at it, you couldn't buy a single Bitcoin because one was worth, I think, like 0.5p. per one, so you had to buy them in the thousands. You couldn't buy them individually. And then they slowly went up. I told loads of people about this, and nobody wanted. One person only bought them. I don't know what's happened to him.
He now founded Tesla.
No. He was a con artist. Anyway, so it was just one of the low-level people I met. He was into his internet. He was into cons and things like that. Anyway, so he bought some. But I told a load of people buy some, and then they were going up and up. And every now and again, I check back because you have to buy a wallet to put the money in. So, what it is that's locked in, and you can only access that. There's nothing outside of it. It's locked into wherever that system. To the point where what people do now, they buy up old computer things that have been smashed up and broken up because people have bought these things and forgotten about them. But one's worth, 25 grand. But originally, you had to buy 1,000 for £1 or something like that. And then they just slowly, I watched them going up. My friend told me.
You were watching your friend watching them go up.
In his screen. So it's on the dark web. It's one of those things.
I don't think you're going to go to jail for going on the dark just for going.
I don't know what the thing is.
Just depends what you do on it, I suppose.
Yeah, if you're buying guns and...
Yeah, well, I say do not go on the torrent and go through the Onion website to get onto the dark web because it's a terrible thing.
Definitely don't install Tor.
Yeah. But mainly it's political stuff. So you can't get caught by your own government. It's mainly political. But yeah, so I've got one somewhere, but it's like, I think it's like 10p. Because it started to get expensive, so it got broken down. He used them for something.
Leo used them for something.
Yeah. And Leo could be a boy or girl. Leo?
Not really.
No, I kind of can't.
Okay, he then.
I didn't see it. I didn't see the Leo. Could Leo? There's a very slight
Leo.
Sidestep. Leo, but what would it be? Leonora? There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look at that. Well, and we're back.
Well, because it's a nickname, Leo, anyway.
Yeah.
So, yes, he's still got one. But it's like, I think it's like 1/10 of a p. But yeah, now they're worth like 25.
So next
grand
time we go to the
each.
pub, the round is on Leo then.
And I was in a shop 3 or 4 years ago in Cambridge, and you could pay by Bitcoin. And in
what?
Yeah, it's not now. And if you go to, I can't remember the station, one of the main stations in London, there's a cash machine, Bitcoin cash machine. You can take the money out. Oh, there's a shop in my road, a newsagent with a Bitcoin machine. So I was still thinking if you had the money now to buy one, but now they're like 25 grand. It's too expensive. Because remember, like a couple of years ago, suddenly everyone started saying Bitcoin was on the news, and that's when it jumped up to like 15 grand a Bitcoin.
My mate bought one, I think, a couple of years ago. And it's
a couple of years. Yes, we paid the most.
So
for it.
well, he paid. No, I think he was just before it got crazy.
It's like a grand or
I think he's doubled
£500.
tripled his money.
But mate, I remember looking at them, and they were 0.5p each. You couldn't buy one. You had to buy thousands of them just to get £1's worth. So there's some people now. I think that somebody bought one off a house off eBay. Just with bitcoins to somebody else, but they turned out it was a PR stunt by the company to try and raise the profile of it, which sort of did work.
Yeah,
but yeah, there's a.
I mean, I've got to mention on the Vialucci podcast.
Yeah, well, it's a big thing. It's not a little thing, but like I said, in my sweet shop down the road to me, they've got a Bitcoin machine where you can put the things in and get the money out. And there's a train station in London somewhere where they do it, and shop by shop. Because the problem is we like trendy, cool stuff.
Yeah,
so you're going to start seeing it pop up, but I don't know what's happened with it now, though. I don't know because didn't the guy get done?
Well, there was because somebody came forward and said that they basically did the "It's true, I am
Iron
Man."
Dark web guy got called one of the main guys because
the guy who came up with
the laptop. He was on the laptop. They traced him.
You mean the Pirate Bay guy, or you mean
no? I think it was some version of the dark web because there's a couple of them. But they traced this guy to an internet cafe, and basically they had a load of coppers around him in the end because if he slammed his laptop shut, it closed.
I watched that documentary.
I didn't see the
documentary. There was a documentary.
It,
It was really interesting. It randomly came on BBC.
And was it a dark web website you're on?
He was it a
Bitcoin?
That was Silk Road.
Oh, that was it. Yeah, Silk Road.
Because he was a Silk Road guy. He was drug trafficking.
That's it.
And like he was like, oh, it's all cool, and it's just a place where people can just experiment.
Yeah.
So that's not Dread Pirate Roberts, is it?
No, that's him.
No, I think that might be Pirate Bay then.
Yeah, I think they're the Pirate Bay guys.
Who
are like nerd? Have you seen them when they arrested?
It's Pirate Bay Music. No,
it's a dark web thing.
Okay.
Yeah, but they were saying
Pirate Bay was just torrents, though. I mean, that was just illegally downloading films and music.
Oh, right.
Maybe I'm thinking of someone else.
But they were like nerd gangsters. Like literally, when they got arrested, they got carried out this mansion, and it looked like a whole bunch of IT support dudes, and they all had like gold chains, like rings and stuff. They had like Lamborghinis everywhere, and like and like they were like, oh my god. This is terrible.
Run DMC
I'm looking at 50 years.
I like your nerd voice there.
Yeah, that's quite prejudicial, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Could have been
and we've been talking about oppression here.
No depression. Yeah, well, they're my people. I can, I feel like I can.
Fair enough.
I feel like I can say the N word, the nerd word.
Nerd word.
Oh,
I've
that's
just got.
good. I use that.
I did get a cold sweat there. I feel like I could say that. I was like, no, Charles, quick, pull the plug.
That is a great get out. That is a great get out. If you say something, the N word, and somebody gets offended, you go, what's wrong with nerd?
Nerd, yeah.
I think they do that as a
What's
gag
wrong
in
with
Ali G. Ali G. Sacha Baron Cohen. He tricks someone into saying the actual N word by saying, and of course you want the you say the N word, and this person yells at the top of the voice, and he goes, no, and I can't remember.
He just says another word.
Yeah, something I can't even remember what the fake word is. He gets them to say, and he's like, it might even be something like novice or something really ridiculous like that. It's people who you don't like or something like this. I can't remember what it is, and it's just.
There was a wonderful episode of South Park.
Is this the naggers?
Naggers.
Oh, yeah. No.
And it was just N missing word letter GGERS.
People who you don't like.
People who annoy you.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a question.
And he's just like, I don't know if I should say it. And they go, why? And everyone's just like, why? Just say the word. And he just goes and says the word, and everyone's like, it was naggers.
Oh, no. That's good.
People who annoy you, and he's like, oh. Yeah.
I have a problem, and I've got in trouble before about this,
Yes.
is by saying words that people don't like, and I get really offended because I'm not in the wrong. You should be able to say any word you want. And I've said every word on the podcast you would think in talking about life.
Yeah.
And then to say we can't. Well, the fact you just said like the N word you should be able to say that without any.
Yeah, but I don't want to say.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But okay, so this is my point. So forget that. That shouldn't even be there. That's imposed fascism on you that you've accepted. Because you shouldn't. Everything's context. Everything's context. So you can't have because you either have one word that's banned or not said, but then you can. That's just any point in time that changes politically could just be any word. Then you could say free, like the Muslim.
But I think it's to do with but it's to do with the connotation, isn't it? I think it's the fact that it's been used as a racist term for.
No, yeah, but you could if you were talking about my friend of mine was called. Whatever word you want to say.
But that is again.
But you wouldn't even do that. That's what I'm saying. I've said it plenty of times.
But you don't want to. I don't think you just want to repeat the word is because it's such a horrid word. So I don't.
Yeah, but even when repeating the bad act, you want to how bad that.
Even just discuss. I know what you're saying. So just the idea of should we be able to just discuss the word and say the word because if it's even saying if it's horrible, you don't have to promote it or be positive about it. But you can just discussing it, saying this is horrible.
Yeah, you could say I got attacked the other day and they called me. So what about that? Can you say it or not? So you either can say everything, or you've started the ball rolling.
But I think context is king. So I think
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So I'm agreeing with you, but I just wouldn't want to say the word anyway.
But that's what I'm saying. You've imposed it on yourself.
Yeah, because why do I want to keep spreading that word out? Like,
again, you keep.
Let's just stop saying that word until it goes away.
But see that because
I think that was a mistake. I think that was a mistake of rap music. It was trying to. It was like, let's appropriate that word and reuse it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. That's the worst part. Of it,
that was. I understood the idea, and obviously this is retrospectively. Yeah. But actually, I think you've just kept that word in usage.
Yeah.
No. You have to remember those words because you have to remember how disgusting it is. So when you are saying this,
but the point is, it doesn't need to be in every song.
No, right. They completely bollocksed up that word. That should still be a horrific word when you say it. So when you say something, that word. That should be an extreme to know that it's there.
Yeah, I don't think people should.
But they just watered it down to mean nothing.
Hey,
started creating ambiguity in the word. That's ridiculous. That's the worst thing that could have happened. Is to start making a word mean it doesn't matter anymore. But the point is, then it's either we can say anything with context, and then society judges whether it's right or wrong.
Yeah.
But you should be able to say everything, or you start banning one word, and then you might as well just ban whatever you want, depending on what the political climate is. Because Trump, if it did become fascism and all that, he could easily say, well, with the Democrats is to do with it's terrorism. Anyone use the word democracy, it's terrorism. And then you start with...
Well, they did. I mean, Sarah Palin always used to imply that, there was once where Obama and Barack, and because it's surname for one and first name for the other. So Barack and Michelle Obama, and I don't think it's just them. I think he quite often fist bumps with a lot of people.
Yeah.
And they tried to make out that was a Hezbollah
greeting,
right? And trying to say that they don't.
It was a gang sign as well.
But it was basically that's because apparently I've no idea if that's true or not anyway, but it was like, oh, because because it was always this insinuation, oh, he's a Muslim, he's this, he's that, all this kind of thing. And they were basically saying, and she was saying, I don't think people talk about that enough. I don't think people, but it almost goes nutter. But again, that almost goes back to because why, it almost goes back to our kind of incredulity about why, about that 9/11 is this Jewish conspiracy. You go, well, why would you say that? That's obviously demonstrably not true.
I thought it was a Muslim conspiracy. Where have the Jews got involved in that?
Because it's the idea that they perpetrated it. I have no idea. You're talking
about...
But
then do those people that say that say, okay, it's nothing to do with the Muslims? Or do they want both of them to have
no idea. They probably...
Jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams.
I'll get into all these. So my point is...
I haven't looked into it because you see the ridiculous headline and you go... I'm not even going to give that the time.
I'd just like to speak to somebody that does think that, right? And go, right, okay.
I don't know if I want to.
No, I would, because you go, okay, that's the type of person you are, right? They're Jewish, that you believe the Jewish, yeah, okay, so no Muslims then, they're just off the hook. And they'd go, well,
No, but I think the idea,
somehow.
I think it's the idea that they're, that the idea is that it was perpetrated by Muslims, but that the
I was going to say
this Jewish
have
New
to hate
World
everyone,
but
not just one group.
Well, racist people hate everyone.
Yeah,
that's the whole point.
There's a cabal of basically every foreigner hates America and is plotting together, like to destroy everything that you like.
Yeah, I hate everyone.
But it's the New World Order, and it's all that kind of bollocks, and it's it's a big Jewish conspiracy to control the world, and and you go, what are you talking about? But even if it was anyone, even if it was, you can make it up, you can say, oh, it's it's how people from bloody. It's the same mentality of bloody foreigners coming over here stealing our jobs. It's the same, but it's on a grander scale.
It's just fear of the unknown, really.
I'd like to speak to racists and say, tell me the people you do like. Tell me some nice people, just to see if there's anyone that they grouse. We go, oh, do you know who these people are great?
Well,
because it's not in their nature to like stuff. I can only fight against things I hate. So
I think you do get some people who are racist, but just against one group.
But there is this thing.
Not that that's better or worse.
I talk to people. I know people. I talk to people, and there does seem to be a separation between the individual. Because there's someone I know, and they were going on about Eastern European people and Polish people, and I don't like them, and they all go. And one of these people has one of their relatives is married to a Polish person, and they like this Polish person an awful lot, and they're always going, oh, it's nice, really nice person, a lovely person. Their kids are, Polish and stuff, and the family's really nice, and you present them with this. You go, but you like them, and they're nice, and you go, oh well, but they're the good ones.
Yeah,
it's just this abstract. They're fine. The people I know are fine,
but also
and all
by
the people I've met are fine. But it's this idea of foreign. It's idea of blackness.
But
idea of foreign. It's this vague concept, and that's the scary thing. Because when you meet people, they're fine. Like gay people, some people, I hate gay people. But like when you meet gay people, they're just people. You know what I mean? But it's the idea. It's this scary idea.
It's also, but when people say things like, oh, I don't just like black, but one of my colleagues is black and he's all right. It's like you're almost saying, oh, they're the exception that proves the rule. That actually, I'm right to hate all the others because one person is. You know what I mean? You go, well, what do you... Yeah, you can't... But, frankly, I'm just waffling on here, and what I ought to say is just don't be racist, don't be a prick.
Yeah, but it's...
just don't be a prick.
It's almost a type of... you're just a delusional human being, because it's so easy to poke fun in. I mean, you go, so what about Irish people? Do you hate them? Because if it was the 80s, you'd probably hate them as well. Oh, no, they're all right. What about if we go really like a few hundred years back in like some...
And you still hate them. They still hate you.
You still hate the person that's new. And eventually, Polish people would be everywhere, and then they won't hate them. There'll be it's the new person.
There'll always be.
We go, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
But there's also the new. You hate the new.
But I think there'll always be people who hate people.
But it's it's them. They're the issue. The problem is the way your mind.
Because then you can blame you blame them for your problems.
Yes, but it's the Trump thing. It's just that you are the poison masquerading. You think it's that. But the worst one in the room is you. But you can't accept that because of your failing. So you create a delusion in your head to it's them. But the problem is you need somebody to tell you who to hate. Because if there were no newspapers, you wouldn't hate the Polish or the Romanians because you hardly ever met any. But the newspapers say, look, are those over there? Don't look up in the skyscraper. Look at them. Okay, I'm going to go to the News of the World or Sun and go, am I still supposed to hate Irish people? Or is that gone now? No, we don't hate them. Oh, the Polish people. No, not nationalism. The Romanians. Oh, well, what about the Gypsies?
I'm not sure who we're meant to hate now.
I
That's
get
what I mean.
confused. It's difficult to keep up,
This is
isn't
my
it?
point
I don't know.
about big.
Karem, can you do some Googling and just
Yeah.
go,
Who are we
Google,
supposed to hate?
Who are we meant to hate
what's the-
right
yeah,
now?
What are the newspapers saying? But that's what it is, and that's the mainstream papers.
Did you wave, Karem, by the way, when we said who are we meant to hate now? What, Turkish
fine,
people?
Little thumbs up there. You're like, yeah.
Well, are we meant to hate Turkish people now?
Oh, this kind of
No, Turkish people. No,
Why?
they've flown under the radar. They haven't
a
done
couple
anything.
of years in like
No, you've sort of integrated, and it's just you bypass that initial wave. I think there's probably Romanian people and Irish people. You snuck in with the Greeks and the Irish. The
You
Turks.
snuck in.
No, but under the media, I'm saying they came in at the time of the Irish, so the Irish got all the backlash, and then they just sort of snuck in and integrated. Actually, probably before then. What was the first one?
I would say,
hated
actually, I'm trying to
Irish?
think of any...
I'm thinking of the 50s, so you had war, Germany, but that they never came over here as much, so that just... Irish was really
We've hated the
Irish
yeah.
and the blacks.
And the French.
French, yeah.
French.
Usually who...
Catholics were, it was
I mean, you can go really
it
far
was
back, yeah.
Well, no, it was illegal to be a Catholic in this country. I think it was until 17-something.
It was illegal.
Illegal, yeah.
You could worship in private. Basically, the idea was worship. Oh, no, you're right, actually. I beg your pardon. You're right. Because I went to this fantastic... exhibition called I Object. It was Ian Hislop curated it, and it was at the...
Because he's a very strict Catholic.
Oh, is he?
Yes,
I didn't
he
know
is,
that.
yeah.
I thought he was... well, I mean, I knew... But there was a thing where they had a some Catholic relic... I don't know how... The kind of things that would go up on altar, I don't know if it was an altarpiece or whatever. And so what Catholics did, obviously they would publicly be Protestant, they would be Church of England, whatever you want to call it. Privately, they would still worship how they wanted, and they would use these things as things like salt cellars.
Oh, right.
So if someone came round and they went, well, that's whatever is outlawed, blah, blah, blah. And they go, oh, no, it's a salt cellar. Look, it works. There's a salt cellar. It was really good. I thought that was brilliant.
Was it Tabernacle?
Yeah, maybe. I'm not
but
really
there's
up
no
with my...
Jewish thing. God, I should know this stuff. I went to Catholic school. I should know this stuff.
No.
Obviously, wasn't paying attention.
No.
You just go to a standard primary school?
Yeah, I just went to a plebby one.
Which one?
What school?
Yeah, no, don't. Yeah, forget it.
Well, I went to Hangleton, and then they were good schools, but I mean they weren't like
Did you do all right at school? Were you a C person, a B person, an A person? What?
A's and B's.
A's.
A's and B's, a couple of A's.
I don't think I ever saw a B in my life. I think sports. C was sports.
Got in there first.
Yeah,
Sorry,
damn
had to
it.
be done.
What did I
Quick draw
say?
McGraw there.
Buzz.
Oh right, yeah.
Um,
How did you do at school?
Straight B student, yeah.
No, that's not bad.
Like only I'm like a Susan of A's. Like I'm not. I was like,
Yeah, but you touch it once. You touch the cup, the golden.
I don't
cup
really.
once.
I don't really want it going on record that I touched the A's.
Touch
That
the
sounds
cloth with the
really.
A's.
Yeah, that sounds really horrid.
You probed the A.
Yeah, I probed the A deep.
There's been a lot of innuendo.
gave you a
Even
little
before the
tickle.
podcast, we were sort of flirting with innuendos. I don't know what's happened. The hot
Yeah,
weather's sort
I
of.
think this might have been one of our more controversial. I'm really.
No, we're just talking about life. We haven't mentioned anything specific.
We discussed the N-word, Israel, and now we're going on about
Yeah, I don't really
A's.
understand all the Israel.
tickling A's.
Yeah, but again, it comes down to the fact that some, I think, you'll always have, as much as we would not want, what it's going to do is get less. I'm talking about all racism in general here, and I know actually anti-Semitic crimes are on the rise, which again is baffling. You go, what? Not that there's any right, there should be rhyme or reason, but
what's instigating this?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So obviously, you can, because we recently, there's been a few terrorist incidents, more than a few, let's be honest, perpetrated by people claiming to be Muslims, and you're like, really? Because your criminal record says you're a drug dealer and thinking like that, and all things forbidden in Islam. So how's that the case? Anyhow, so you can understand you don't agree with, but you go, okay, I understand why the fascists now go, oh, it's the Muslims now, but last week it was the whoever that was stealing your job, and then before that it wasn't. But you go, well, was there some? So I don't know. I think that there's just. People are just.
Well, I remember
horrid.
saying so many years ago.
Ghastly,
I was just trying to
and
break
just-
down the fact of how stupid racism is. I mean, it's not even beyond. It's beyond stupid. It's like embarrassing to even have to enter into the conversation. Like there's something wrong with you, so there's no point talking to you. And he was talking about England fans. I think they were fighting Germany or something. They were playing Germany.
Oh, they beat up. I remember once there was. I think it was when England got knocked out in Euro '96. There was. I think it was a Russian person. I don't think they got killed, but I think they got stabbed.
I
Because
think
it was
that sort
they
of-
had a foreign accent basically, and that was it. So it was like, who can we find who has a foreign accent?
Yeah.
You know, that was the thing. It was like, oh, he's not English, must be German. Oh, I think they were stabbed or beaten severely.
Close enough. He's got funny eyes. Let's get
What
him.
was the shooting
Yeah,
in America in the church a few years ago? They thought they were Muslims, but they weren't. There was a Hindu or something like that.
Oh, the newest things of people, Sikhs being beaten
that's
up.
what.
Yeah.
But they were saying, look, he's an English hooligan. All the English fans over the beating people up, and you go, yeah, but he's flying English flag, but he'll hate he'll hate. His boss. He'll also hate the bloke in the pub.
The person he hates
English
most.
pub.
The person he hates most is himself.
Yeah.
Because he
And
looks in the mirror
English
and sees
people
an
are the
absolute.
worst.
He's probably been in a fight with his neighbour.
He just looks at
It's
he
just
looks at himself in the mirror and sees
hates all the things that hates liberty and
So
democracy and freedom. Yeah, all the things that we stand
beats
for.
his missus up. Like
Yeah.
anyone outside of him, he attacks.
waves the flag of St George, a Syrian conscript in the Roman army. So coming over here, killing our dragons.
I still because I was watching MSNBC and they throw the words like billionaire around. And I think that in the future, because I get stuck either in the past or looking back from the future, and it just this filter my brain goes through immediately. You go,
How do you mean? Sorry.
because with the way my brain was developed from like not knowing anything and then being introduced to the past and then thinking about the future and my life and all that. Whenever I'm watching something, I'm always thinking about how that's playing back from the future, because then it highlights how bad it is. I never think, because I'm not used to anything nowadays, so it's almost like I'm outside the loop. So I'm always thinking, well, if you look from the future looking back, how ridiculous is this? Like everything that's happening with Trump and all that. Like, how will it be looked back upon? Because I always watched older documentaries about life, so I've always had that sort of visor on to look back.
The past is a foreign country. They do things differently back then.
Yeah. So I'm always, again, only because that was the first imprints of society, was like looking at old documentaries and old films. So everything just, the synapses of my brain just started firing that way, and they got stuck like that. Or I look forward to, how will we be seen, being looked back on, sort of thing. And when you talk about billionaires, I can't ever accept the word billionaire, because to me, like with the politics of it, they get money and it never stops. Right? You can't. It then goes from money. Numbers and digits don't mean anything anymore. It's just a pot that's free. Everything's free. So now we have to go to power. Like they're constantly chasing that. So it's not about the money. And I do think in the future, if everything works out well, there will go. There's a medical condition called a billionaire. And it's to do with like a dementia. They can never have enough. It was somebody that grabbed everywhere, and they go to kids. Well, why did they need more? And the teacher will say, "Well, it was just."
Well, you could say
can't
that.
stop.
It depends how this utopian society is. But you say,
because
why were there fat people? Because they couldn't stop eating. Why were there? Were people smoking themselves and?
Yeah, but I mean, then
death?
it's chemicals that are being introduced, and you get used
But
to
there's
that.
we didn't billionaires.
No, that's what I'm saying though. There wasn't always people that ate loads of sugar. Do you know what I mean? But the billionaire specifically, I mean, honestly, I'm not being funny. I used the term billionaire. It's a bit of a decoy, because I do mean millionaire, but I know people don't believe that. I think when you've got enough money, millionaire, when you're billionaire, and you can't...
Is this the Forrest Gump thing of there's only so much money a person can have and then the rest is just for showing off?
Yeah, but no, but it's you can't. To get to that point, you have to not be able to turn it off. It's not a choice to be a billionaire. It's just so I can't have enough. So this is what I do. I think, okay, just look at it like this then, because it is this. Money is just resources, okay?
Yeah.
So if everyone was sat on if everyone's money was a pile of food, and there's people over there starving, it could be any. There's not enough schools or not enough, but let's just say it's food. Those people on there are sat on a hill, a mile high of food. And they keep getting more and more food, and those people are starving, and you could give them some, but you go, no, I'm not giving you any. Why would I give you some? I want to hand it down to my kids. Yeah, but your kids aren't they're just going to queue more, and and there's people starving everywhere. Well, I don't care. I'm just keeping mine. And that's what I think about a billionaire. How can you be again, I could say a lot lower, but let's say billionaire. How can you be a billionaire and know that 100 million you could take that will be back in interest in 10 years? How can you go, drive through life and know what's going on and not give a little bit of it? It would be like somebody saying, however much money you earn, we could get some schools sorted if you gave
I think,
£2. We
you
could
do get the odd. You do get the. I think isn't it J.K. Rowling, and she keeps dropping, even though she's still making tons and tons of money.
Yeah, of course there are.
She keeps dropping further and further down the rich list
Yeah.
because she keeps giving so much away.
Yeah. Well, I think you have to get to a certain point in life. Like always, somebody said to me when I was putting things together, "Oh, you're going to be one of these guys," because I was just constantly working. There was no off, there was no holidays, there was no people. There was just the work.
You walk down to the beach on Christmas morning, isn't it?
That was my one holiday. That was that I knew it was coming, so it was all right.
Yelling at the sea,
bastard. No, but I mean,
that's your shit.
The thing is, though, can't you totally picture that happening? I can totally imagine you walking down to the sea and just fists outraged and just screaming,
"You motherfucker!
Damn you!" at the whole world, not just the sea. But that's your way.
I needed something to look at
through the water.
But no, my point is though, that is what it is. It's a billionaire being a billionaire. That's like somebody saying to me, right? You could for a tenner. We could build a school for every tenner you give us out of your money. Yeah. And we go, no, I'm not giving that. And then it's not, the kid would go, well, who was this person? You go, no, there was loads of them. What, 10? Well, there's probably 1,000. What? So these people that were vacuuming up all the money over here, they didn't want to give anybody to the people over there.
I have a really
It's demented. It's not like, how could you explain that?
I have a really good stat. There are 2,000 billionaires in the world, right?
Yeah.
I've said this before. But last year, their wealth accumulated by 750 billion, just those 2,000. That's enough to pay off, to feed everyone and pay off all the extreme debt in the whole world 7 times over.
Right, so this is what I mean, and that's just one generation of them. And
that's 2,000 people.
Yeah, so I think that's got to be looked back on and go, oh, the word billionaire is a sickness. It was a sick person. It was somebody that's brain wasn't developed properly. And sorry, I was going to say the story where you were talking about J.K. Rowling, because I think, no, you couldn't buy me. Like, it really wouldn't bother me if somebody said, well, it's 100 million, but you just have to do something, forget everything you're doing and do that other thing. It wouldn't pique my interest. And I've been off. I remember, mate. Okay. Yeah, so what I'm saying is I think
Leo get offered a lot?
No. I'm thinking when you've struggled for a certain amount, if you've been a person for a certain amount of time, you then become it's solidified. That's who you are. If you get somebody when they're 20, you can sort of bend them. If you've struggled all your life and you're now 45 or whatever, you can't really then come along and go against. It's like getting people in the army when they're young. You can make them kill people for no reason when they're young. It'd be hard to recruit people when they're 40 to go and kill people because you've sort of decided who you are at that point. You're not malleable.
But I think it also depends.
And I think maybe that's what she did. She struggled for so long. She's that type of person now. You can't sort of get rid of all that. You know, Donald Trump couldn't have gone from 10 to 50 and been that different. It had to be a gradual thing. You have to be poisoned, sort of thing.
Well, I suppose she did have. I don't want to speak out because I didn't live J.K. Rowling, but single mother of 2 children. I want to say. But I think she had at one point. She was, although she's always had a career. Single, you know, I think at one point she was very much close to the breadline.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if you struggled up, like what I was saying about the drug dealer offering me money, it's never the money thing that bothered me, and I only think about that, like thinking about could I trust myself if something came along. I think no, because I remember having fucking broke, and then somebody giving me money, and it didn't even bother me. The money has never been a thing that pulls me along. So I think like maybe with her that they have to get you in there early. That poison has to get you in early. If you've struggled all your life, you go, well, I'm this type of person. It doesn't bother me that much. I'm not trying to run around in Ferraris and Porsches. But if you had got me when I was 20, I might have.
Do you think it's also whether you get it immediately? You know, there was the lotto. I did say that right. I thought I said lotto wrong. Lotto lout, wasn't there? And so it was the idea that should someone get that much money overnight anyway, does it depend on their personality?
Yeah, if you're getting the money overnight, that's another thing.
But you know what I mean. But he was how old was he? He was not very old when he won, was he? I would hazard a guess at early
20s.
Yeah,
I think. He's in prison now again, isn't he?
Probably, maybe.
I think he's gone to prison for a longer time now.
I mean, the thing is, at the end of the day, I don't think he can afford lawyers anymore. So,
it's almost like
if we say something wrong
to become
about him anymore.
A part of becoming a billionaire is just being greedy, and not wanting to spend money. Because if you have nothing and then a load of money, you don't know how to manage that, so it just goes out everywhere. So you have to sort of be grown up in that sort of. I'm not giving. Somebody said to me, and we was joking. I was working in a nightclub, and I was talking about putting everything together, and somebody gave me a quote per magazine per page. What on one page of a magazine can sell for if you're a main thing. It's a ridiculous amount of money. And he said, "Well, you'll never be a billionaire anyway." He said because, and this is what he said to me. He said, "You'll never be able to walk into an office of 100 people." And just sack them on Christmas Eve and walk out and be happy about it. Yeah. Said some people can do that. Yeah. They can quite happily for this a bit more shares and we'll fuck them off. You know?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think everyone. I mean, Bill Gates, for example, doesn't strike me as that kind of person.
No,
He might be. I don't
this is
know,
the other problem with billionaires, right? And just if you look back,
Bill Gates is the problem.
I'm not even having a go at him, but this is what the paradigm follows. If you just go back, don't ever look at your little epoch. Go back to the whole and watch the patterns play out.
Yeah.
This is what they do from Carnegie, all of them. They fuck people over all their life, and then the last few years before they hand everything over to the kids, let's put a foundation together. Let's open a library. What about all the fucking bit before? It's all the 50 years before.
But it's essentially the deathbed confession, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that's what but that's literally what it is.
I recant
going back
this
to Carnegie
and
and all, yeah,
and I convert.
Let's give all that money away
back to Catholicism.
Yeah.
You know,
but that's
and all
what
this
it
kind
is.
of stuff,
It's
isn't
all
it?
bollocks. I remember seeing
That's what you got to hang out for, baby. Yeah, the deathbed confession.
before Trump was running for the presidency. They had him handing over a £10,000 check to some charity, and I was like, "Oh, for fuck's sake, that does nothing." What about all the
Yeah, but
bits
it's also,
before?
but it's the thing is like people don't go around kissing babies in normal. You know, you might go, "Oh, can I give you a baby?" Like I was at a wedding and there was a very cute baby, and we all said, "Oh, can we have a little squeeze?" And I think that's normal. But people don't go around going like, "Oh, can I kiss your baby?" and photograph with it in daily life. But they do it when they're out on the campaign trail. So of course, yeah, you know, they're going to give money to charity more during that time. They're going to go to school openings and do an egg.
No,
and
but
spoon
I'm talking
race
about.
and
So I
whatever
understand
the
that, but I'm talking about that thing that's now people like you just said. Oh, they're doing that thing. Go, no. I'm not having you're starting a foundation now. What happened to all the 50 years before?
Well, in fact,
because I always
when you haven't
curtain.
got anything, you can't start a foundation. You'd be like, "This is foundation for me."
No,
Can I
some
have some
people
money,
do collect
please?
that innocently, but I'm talking
Yeah, of
about
course, yeah.
don't be a billionaire and think we're bloody stupid because everyone now just looks through a lens like that.
Well,
big
I'd
and
rather. I know, but I'd rather have someone making amends later in life than.
still do it. Don't take it away. I'm just saying I'm not fucking stupid. Don't start pretending because we've
all the
seen it
people,
go on for 100
all the people
years.
who need that money are like, "Theo, shut up. We want that money." And you're like, "No,
Yeah, but
it's
true.
too late."
That's what the robber barons did. They would fuck everything over and then just go, last
Well,
year,
it was
remember
the-
this bit
yeah, but
because
it was-
people are stupid.
Here's a library.
Yeah, here's like my
Enjoy
name
it, you peasants.
because I've got to give it to my kids, and I don't want them to have the burden of that. But people are stupid; they'll only remember last year. So just
Yeah,
like,
well,
don't
that's again, that's all of history. You know, you get these despotic rulers and kings and emperors and whatnot and warlords, and they go around slaughtering everyone everywhere. You know, and taking it all and keeping it all for themselves, and you know, burning people alive if they say anything about them. You know, even fart in their direction, they'll have them flayed alive and everything like that. And then the last couple of years, it's temples to this god, alms for the poor, and you know, everyone gets some bread and circuses.
I keep
and
coming
whatnot.
back to again and again. We our purview of life is becoming smaller and smaller and smaller till we can't see the fucking end of our nose, and
because we're too
nobody's
busy looking in our phones.
Yeah, but nobody goes, look, do you understand this is all played out before? No, what are you talking about, silly? Go, this has happened before.
Yeah, but I mean, I would still say we are at a point in history, broadly speaking. I know there's some awful things. You know, you switch on the news and you see awful things, and obviously climate change is going to wipe out all life on the planet. But
Fingers crossed.
yay! Yeah, I mean, sometimes you switch on your news and you're like, "Oh, bring on that comet, man! Bring on that! Bring on that drought!" Like,
I can imagine a lot of the lizards in the sea going, fucking kill them.
all the lizards under the earth.
Come on,
controlling
come on.
The lizard people are going any day now, any day. come
any
on.
day. Yeah, but sometimes I mean,
Holding the
obviously-
Bible up.
because that's the thing, like climate change, you look at that and you go, well, this is awful because we're taking all this biodiversity, all these species with us. But when you watch something like Armageddon and it's like, you know, the comet comes and it wipes out and you go, yes, more of that, get rid of the we're garbage, we're a plague on the planet, you know. And it's just like you switch on the news and you think, do you know what, humans are just appalling.
I was talking to somebody a few weeks back about the fact of because I was arguing about something.
Happy Sunday, everyone.
No, I was
People are just the worst, aren't
Yeah.
they?
because
I
it
mean,
sounds like I would ban things. I said I would never ban anything. I said if the human beings haven't deserved to be here, wipe us out, mate. You don't deserve to be here. Let's just keep it like that.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen. Tough shit. If the meteor comes down or something out of the climate change, you go, I can't defend them. The aliens come and go, well, tell us what happened. Go, fuck, we bollocksed it up. Get rid of us.
That's the day
again.
the Earth stood still, isn't it? Is that so the aliens come down and say, I think more so in the remake, but the idea is that you've got all of this and we've been watching you.
Oh, right,
now
yeah,
you're
yeah.
destroying this planet and destroying each other. I think in the remake...
Klaatu.
Yeah, Klaatu.
Yeah, if I was Klaatu and he came down and they said, look, so what's been going on? So to be honest, mate, we fucked it up. I'm like, do you want to get out of it? No, just let it end it. Because we
Well,
are
you
broken.
know God's sitting up there and he was like, I gave you a fucking chance like thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
I
I gave you
wiped
a
out
second
Noah.
chance.
I made the covenant.
Oh, I'll
and
tell you what.
fucked it up.
He'll be
Yeah.
like, worst thing is, he'll be like, take me to your leader. And you go, what? And they go, well, the president's probably the most powerful country in the world right now. And you'd just be,
But the aliens would go, you fucking idiots. They're the worst.
They'd be like, Thanos was right.
I don't know what that means. I was going to say, well, I can drop. Yeah, you want right? So I've, in my quest to become a human being, I scrabbled around the desert in weird areas.
Just to be clear, Theo means metaphorically. He's not a transdimensional lizard
or whatever he said. No, but my point is, I had no direction, so I just went off in weird directions trying to figure things out without anybody telling me.
Then you went to the dark web.
Yeah, that was one of the many places he visited.
The Leo went to. Leo is your dark alter ego. That's your
Anyway.
You're like a superhero, but
it's the Bizarro thing.
Yeah.
I learned some weird stuff, like that. I still try and tell. Like,
what was his name?
No, I just told you a little snippet before this podcast, or when we was on the podcast. I said to you, I watch random things that I know I'm not interested in because it.
Yeah, we've all tried that line, mate. We're all saying, "Oh yeah, I was on Pornhub just out of curiosity."
No, but and there was a big thing about personal development. I would always make myself be around things that were nothing to do with me, and I would learn weird shit. Like fucking hell, people don't realise there's like weird intelligence. You have to take yourself out of your industry and put it in and learn it over there. But anyway, talking about the religion, I saw a thing that nobody's seen, and it's amazing. You might have seen it. There was who played the Doctor Who? And he was in 28 Days Later. The Sergeant Major.
Oh, Christopher Eccleston.
Yeah. Did you see the thing he did on ITV?
I need more information.
Where he played Jesus.
Oh, I didn't see that, but it was like the Second Coming.
The Second Coming, that's it, and it's on YouTube now. The whole thing.
Oh, okay.
And if you watch it
legally,
yeah, no, well, I don't know, but it's a while ago. But it's
we'll
3
It
hours.
was
it was on every other Sunday, and mate, because it's British, it doesn't have any humour. It's just this is what happened, and they're talking about it retrospectively, like what happened is a documentary about him.
Oh, so it's done like a
they're doing to camera pieces after, and you'll recognise a couple of people. There's a couple of quite famous people.
They were like, Jesus was a bit more northern than I expected.
Yeah,
but
who knew?
It's just cold. There's no humour. It's just this is what would happen if it came down. I mean, just the revelation, and it plays out like the Bible. Like nobody around him trusts him. They think he's a fucking lunatic. And he's a bit iffy anyway. He was a bit of an outsider. He worked for Blockbuster. I think he worked for Blockbuster.
Okay. So they don't. Right. Okay.
That's a dated reference.
Yeah.
But
he
worked for Love Movies. Yeah.
But yeah, he basically disappears.
Oh, poor Love
Film. Yeah.
But isn't that what became? Didn't Netflix buy Love Film? Or,
yeah, it became something.
Or Amazon bought. But one of them bought.
And closed it down.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
I remember there should be a shop near me. The drop.
Well, the drop off. Yeah.
Drop off.
But yes, for those of you listening, there was a thing called DVDs. Anyway, we'll move on. Sorry.
Everyone should watch it because you can go on YouTube. It's fucking great because it's just done so well.
But I mean, so they don't go the literal. This is the rapture and
the whole thing. Like I said, think about working.
But why is he working? But why is he working in Blockbuster?
Because what happens is
I don't remember.
He doesn't know he's Jesus or whatever. The
right.
thing
Okay.
Is. I don't know if he's the second.
So that's what I mean. So it's not fully.
He's a bloke. It plays out. They talk about being a normal bloke in a pub with the mates, and they got the.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at. So he's not. This is Jesus immediately, it is in the. It plays out in the Revelation. It's not.
The start is they're in a pub having a laugh,
right.
And he just vanishes, and they're talking about he disappears, and the police turn up to his friends like 2 weeks later and say, "We found this bloke. He's a bit of a loner. He's a bit mental, and he's a." They said we found him walking along the moor, shouting at the sky, and he comes back, and he doesn't know what's going on in his head. And he's saying, I know something's wrong, but I don't know what. Like, the whole point is, like, things happen at stages. And he's saying, I don't know what's going on. I've got this feeling about this. And at one point, he just goes, oh, shit, I know what to do. And they're going in to see a football. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. But it's not like nothing's happened. He's just a lunatic. Everyone's going, I don't know this thing, something, God. And he's going, what are you fucking like? He's mad. And at one point, nothing's happening. And he goes, oh, shit. He says, I know what to do. And he goes, what? And he it's night time.
Yeah.
And they're all going in to watch Manchester United. Like, it looks like Coronation Street. They're all piling into
They're all going in to watch Man U lose to Cardiff.
But he goes, come in here with me. And they run into the crowd. And his mate's going, what are you doing? Like, he's got a small group of mates, like a small select group of 6 people that stick around with him. And he runs into the football store and he grabs a guy's glasses and he pushes past the security. And he runs into the middle of the football pitch. And he does this and he puts his glasses on.
Yeah.
And he looks up and it's night time. And then it becomes day inside the stadium. And people are like, what the fuck? Like, it's daylight. And then it even cuts to the news reports of the time where they're showing the helicopter footage of like a strange beam of light coming out of the what do you call it? And even then, they've got the doubters, like some of them doubting him and trying to change his mind. And at the same time, I don't know if it's Robbie Coltrane or something plays. There's a guy who's a bit perverted, and he's angry because he can't get a job, and he tries to talk to a girl, and she's like, "Get off me from me, you fat fuck," and all this sort of stuff.
Poor old Robbie Coltrane.
I think it might not be him, but he's like going home and he's watching TV and he's getting pissed and he hates everyone. He'd be the sort of tweeter nowadays, like doing comments. He's one of those sort of blokes.
He'd be one of the people going, "Oh, it's them people that are the problem."
Yeah,
that we've been talking about this whole.
And you see him on Saturday night. He's got nobody to go. He's got no mates. He's sitting there eating food and he's getting angry at the TV or something. And the sort of devil comes down at the same time. And his dad's like an alcoholic. Yeah. But it's about the small group of friends that are around him, and he likes a woman and all that. But it plays out he doesn't know what's going on. But the devil goes into this guy's body, who's there to sort of, he can't get to him, but he tries to convince everybody around him to doubt him, even his own dad. Yeah. So to one point where his dad goes to kill him because he thinks your son's this, your son's that, and he's like going, "Here, have some drink. Here, have some drink." His dad's an alcoholic. So he just starts playing around with everybody around him to make them hate him. And at every stage, he doesn't know what's going on. He says, "I don't know what's going on now." But then the religious thing gets involved. So he does something. Oh, there's another bit. Well, I'm going to tell one more bit. So they're in a pub and they're all sitting going, "Right, mate, listen, I don't know what's wrong with you. There's something. I know that thing in the football pitch. I don't know what that was, but you're not God. You're not this. You're not that." And so he goes, "Well, tell me this." And the Wonder Woman's going, "Well, tell me how to do this. Tell me what's going." He goes, "I don't know." And then and what's happened is because they know like this bloke's saying to be religious, people start coming after him. Like the religious groups, and people started to worship him, and he's basically on the run. And now the police are looking for him, and he thinks they don't know where he is, but they've got everywhere bugged. You're looking through security cameras, and he's in a pub, and I don't know which religious group it is, but let's just say it's whoever. He's in the pub and going, "Look, he's hiding from everything." He goes, "I had to get away because of this, and I had to get that, and I don't know what I'm doing." And they're going, "Well, you're not God. You've got to stop saying this thing." He's going, "But I don't know." Anyway, so as this is playing out, there's another scene playing out where somebody's pulling up outside, and they walk in to the pub and they all do the drink, and they put a briefcase down next to him, and then they walk out, and they're all going, "You're not God. You're not this." And then the thing just explodes, like they've tried to kill him. Yeah. And the bomb just goes off, and the whole pub explodes, but everyone at the table, it's slow motions. The bomb happens around them, and then the bomb just gets obliterated. And even the police that are hiding outside, all the windows get blown out the police cars. And then the first episode ends where the whole thing's burnt down, and then they're just sat there, all of them, like the whole place is obliterated. And then so now they know he's like a thing. So the police arrest him, and then they basically put him in a holding cell to keep him away because all the religious people. And then it cuts to like in the Vatican, where they knew it was going to happen because they had pinpointed it as the show's playing out. At this point on that date, this is where he's going to go. So they'd sent people to kill him because they didn't want the truth coming out. Like he was the truth now. He was going to get rid of everything. So it goes like that, and then the people that they distrust him, and he's fighting to get them, and then other stuff happens. So they now know, and it's like God has come back down to the earth in this guy, and he can do certain things like change people's minds or make them see certain things so he can get away with stuff. But the devil starts enclosing on him, and it's really ugly the way it's happening. And so then he has to escape from the police, and then his dad tries to kill him because his dad's a drunk, and the devil convinces his dad that it's his son's fault for everything that he's had to be through. He's an alcoholic because of this, and the woman left because of the kid, and you didn't want the kid. So it gets to the point where his dad tries to kill him, and he has to disappear from him, and he's only got a few people left that trust him. And you got the doubters and all that sort of stuff. But then how it plays out, you just don't see it coming, where he basically says, "Fuck you all. Like, you don't deserve any of this." But he saves the earth by doing something, which is what you wouldn't think would happen. And I'm going to leave it at that. But go and watch it, because the way it's played out is fantastic. Like, it's so down to earth. You go, that is what would happen.
Does he just kill everyone, like, one at a time with his thumb?
No. I mean, I don't want to spoil it. Go and watch it. Just do watch it from the start and watch it through, because it's just... And I thought, you're not learning anything other than that's how people would act if that happened. But it's just, there's no comedy in it. And the way it ends, you go, oh, fucking hell. Like, it's not a Hollywood-y thing. It's just really weird, unusual. You wouldn't see it anywhere else. But it just ends and you go... Oh fuck! So that's how it ended, and it worked. Like what he did worked, but it's not anything you'd think of like a Hollywoody thing.
Does he turn everyone back into like chimps and stuff?
No. And so it ends playing out where they're still talking like, oh, so that's what happened, and now we're in this. This is the way we live, and that's why because of what he did. So really, what he did is he did save us, but something happened to have to save us. So anyway, so it's just so fucking interesting. You got to watch it. It's great. Years ago, and Christopher Eccleston plays it fantastically. The whole way through, you sort of do think he's a bit mentally retarded. He's a bit slow. Everyone thinks he's stupid, and he, there's no ego to him, and he's just scared. In the last couple of people that he trusts, he's
that's just the accent, I think.
Yeah, the maniac. But
a braver man than me.
The whole way through, he's just petrified, and he's like the last couple of pieces run, just I don't know what to do. I'm scared. Like I don't know what this is. I don't know what's going on. Everyone hates me. Everyone's against me. And the guy that plays, if it is Robert Coverdale, the devil, it's fucking because you do think, oh Christ, like and it's not Hollywoody. It's really down to earth, like evil, like scummy evil. But yeah, so I think it's called The Second Coming. So go and watch it online now. How are we doing for time? What time is it, Karim? 8:30.
No, it's 7:45.
Oh, 7:45. Oh, Christ, an hour and 45 minutes.
I know, we've been rambling freestyle. I like it.
Politics, religion,
the
race.
A history of anti-Semitism, very briefly.
I don't think I learned about in there. I didn't really notice.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the thing to learn is that people are horrid, and
effectively, it's an irrational belief, and I think trying to look for like a logical explanation.
I do like
even my thing about the usury that just became the next thing, but actually, obviously, the way that Jewish people have been treated goes back. As I say, I think since there were Jewish people.
But I thought there was a new reason when somebody said, no, people hate them again. I was like,
well, I don't know. I don't. Again, but you don't want to look into it because it's just like, why do I want to find out why someone's an arsehole?
So, you got anything interesting, anything nice happening just to break the spell?
I've got a holiday coming up.
Oh, you're going to Spain?
Yeah.
Which part?
Somewhere in that, basically, I'm just left it to my housemate because his parents have got a place out there. So,
oh, okay. How are you going?
So he just, for a week, yeah. So it's going to be a nice slogging holiday. I normally do a lot of heavy sightseeing.
Are you off anywhere in the next month?
I'd like to. I've been talking to my friend about driving somewhere.
Have you got a car?
He has.
Oh, okay.
He might
IKEA?
He might go Holland or...
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
It was just the driving wasn't very specific.
Well,
Pop to IKEA.
Well, we were trying to go to. We wanted to go to Europe before.
Before we leave.
The Big B happens, and
well, you got another 50 years based on the way it's happening.
Yeah, but I know I was going to go. I was going to go in like March or whatever, and I was going to go in April, and then because I was got to slip in before the deadline. But who knows what's happening?
Well, we've got because it's October the 31st, isn't it? It's meant to be.
Is it October 31st now?
Well, but it can happen any time. But that's the idea. Is that it's meant to be then is the latest, but it could happen sooner if they can come up with a deal,
which they won't.
But that's the problem. The stupid thing is that the EU have also said that they've caught themselves either deliberately or not in a catch-22 because they're saying, oh, we'll only accept this deal that we've agreed, but Parliament's already turned it down 4 times,
and all the alternative options.
Yeah, so there's nothing.
I don't even know what's going on with all that. I gave up on that months ago. I just don't even listen to.
Yeah, I think. Well, yeah, I think that's how happy it's definitely an ignorance is bliss.
Well,
it's a weird. Everyone's become so apathetic.
I'm just trying to forget Brexit. I'm talking about Karim's marriage, mate. He's got that coming up. It's been getting closer and closer. He's got 2 weeks away. Oh, 2 weeks.
That's Karim, our producer. I think we did give you a name check earlier, but just in case.
Oh, he's been on camera before.
You've had about 73 weddings. To the same woman, I should say. Like, not like he's a massive... Like,
he's just a busy guy.
Yeah. But because you've had...
He's not a priest.
Is it 4 weddings? Is that correct? Or this is 4?
This is the second wedding.
This is...
We had like a family kind of thing.
Yeah, one was for family, and now this is the big one.
Yeah, so you've had but you've had the religious ceremony, and now you're having the secular, or you had the...
No, you had the secular.
Secular, I just...
Oh.
As in, you signed the bit of the formal bitty bobby.
1 year.
Yeah.
Now we're doing a humanist wedding.
A humanist wedding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think one day we need to talk about what humanist.
He's got Richard Dawkins coming to this.
Yeah, he's just going to stand in there. He's just going to be looking up. He's just going to look up the heavens and go, "You don't exist."
And he'll have Ricky Gervais, and who else will be there? Stephen Fry will be there.
Stephen Fry will be there. Yeah. Conducting the ceremony.
Wedding. Anyway, so yeah, that's getting closer. Forget Brexit, mate. This is the big issue in the podcast.
Yeah, corrects it. He's exiting the single life. He's exiting the market, ladies.
Yeah. I wonder if he'll come back looking different. He's already shaved the moustache off.
I know. He's kind of gone from.
He turned up looking like Freddie Mercury, and I thought, this is like a little Freddie Mercury.
Yeah,
and it's gone.
I was hoping for a bit of love of my life, like that. Maybe that's what you'll do at the wedding.
I'm just assuming he'll come back looking a little bit sadder.
Yeah, he'll be relieved, mate. He'll be coming. He'll
be like, God's sake, that's the 7th wedding we've had. Now are we actually married? What's going on? I tell you what, we've had some lovely cookies here from.
I think we can end on the spot.
Me and Graham will share. We used to get regular treats from Karem's fiance. But
we had nearly once.
Ever since,
After the wedding.
yeah, exactly.
Bit of wedding cake.
Ever since he put a ring on it, there is there's
this
been
one,
a
yeah,
dearth
yeah.
of chocolate, and that is a metaphor, I think, for married life. It's all chocolate cake, and then to begin with, and then it's over.
So is that it? Then we're going to end on a biscuit, so you can have one.
We're going to end on a biscuit.
That's, it just takes
so because it's not ending on a soggy biscuit, then that's fine.
Got to have one.
I'm okay. I've already had 2.
Oh, well, there you go.
Maybe with my lips.
Okay. Right, well,
I mean, I'm
thank you very
totally
much.
going to eat him once
There
the
you
camera
go.
goes off.
Yeah, we'll see you next week. Yeah, I think we will. With the
Oh, no, I am here next week. I lied. It's the one after.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. He's slipping back on the sun.